What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 45. I'm your host, Eagle.
Nox.
Melo Yenis.
And joining us this week is a very special guest, Shonen OG. What's going on, man? Thanks for pulling up.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be on.
Yeah, we're excited to have you because it's not often we get to have people on here, as we say every time we have a guest. You know, it's hard to find people who are, reviewers on YouTube that are current in all these series that can talk about them with us. So why don't you take a minute to let everybody know what it is you do, and yeah, if they aren't already familiar with it.
Right. So I do regular Dr. Stone videos. I occasionally change it up, but for the most part, every week I'm dropping a Dr. Stone discussion. Been doing strictly Dr. Stone for I think like a year, because I started out doing One Piece and then I made the switch to Dr. Stone. But yeah, I've just been trying to spread the word, because the whole reason I started doing it was because, aside from like great channels like this that talk about everything in Jump, or like the occasional channels that might do a video once in the blue moon, nobody really is like dedicated to regular Dr. Stone content, which I thought was a shame. So that's why I started doing it.
Yeah, I saw the video, your most recent video. Senku is the best Shonen MC.
Yes,
Damn
fire.
right
He is. And please, everybody,
like
watch that video. Oh my god, I might put it down in the description. It's a great video.
Thank you very
and of
much.
course we'll include links in the description for his channel, his Twitter, and anything affiliated with all of his content, so you guys can go take a look at that. And with that being said, as always, go ahead and take a look in that description box down below, where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online communities like Discord, places to listen to the podcast, wherever you would normally choose, as well as links to support the podcast, such as our Patreon or our online shop. Also, like the goddamn video and subscribe to the channel for more fire weekly content.
Yes.
And with all that said, how are you guys, man? This is a fire weekend Jump.
It is, and like, what a week to have OG here, because this Dr. Stone chapter was drastic as
It was
fuck.
very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
As the expert here,
Yeah.
how do you feel about this chapter?
Yeah.
A lot. That's how I feel. Because
A lot
especially
of
considering this is the chapter that we came back from the break. I actually said, now that I think about it, I actually jinxed everyone, because when I saw that there was going to be a break, I immediately tweeted, so somebody's dying, right? Like somebody's getting shot in the face,
Oh.
right? So
No.
then this chapter dropped, and I read it, and it's just occurring to me that I said that. I'm like, oh no, I jinxed it.
You kind of did, dude.
Yeah. Well, with that being said,
it does follow the pattern that you mentioned in your video about like Dr. Stone villains, in that this is a series where like there's a lot of accumulation. You can do a lot of montages and like a lot of like structural foundational build-up, but the antagonists are, and like in the villains, they usually appear when there are points of no tension, because it's all that buildup of like prepping. And we just got to the point where like, hey, we have a computer, we have like the launching pad, like all this stuff. So like needing that injection of tension follows the formula. It's been well established, as you've stated before on Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
For sure.
Well,
What's the title of the chapter, though, Eagle?
why don't we just go ahead and get the intro out of the way? Chapter 213 of Dr. Stone, Unknown Known.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
as you guys were saying, fire ass color cover, fucking beautiful, featuring the regular degulars, Kohaku, Senku, Suika.
The team.
I love that old man.
Kaseki, man, is the guy.
Yeah,
I love
Kaseki's-
Kaseki.
Kaseki's my favorite character, straight up.
Yeah, anybody inside of the main cast is like, man, it's so hard to choose. I feel like I've changed whenever we talk about, well, I think I go out of my way to say, like, this is my favorite character in Dr. Stone, and it's like, whoever's getting focus in a chapter, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, beautiful.
It makes sense.
Mhm.
It's crazy that they reinforce Gen's position in the squad like right away in the beginning of this chapter.
Yes.
Like if you think about how it's juxtaposed with the end of the chapter, because like without him, like it's going to be tough to revive more people and have them not be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Because you don't have Gen there to kind of like
Yeah.
smoothly,
Mhm.
you know, talk them right into like what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
yo. And
Yeah.
I feel like he has a certain way of, you know, with words, obviously, he's the silver tongued bastard. Because, like, even if a normal person told you what he told these people, you would probably still freak the fuck out. You
Yeah.
know? So,
Yeah.
like, it shows that he
He's-
has a certain way with words.
It helps that
anyway.
he's a
got
familiar
skill
face.
of
Yeah.
framing and like his whole thing of like being the art of the con was being able to frame a lot of information in that's in digestible amounts. Like he portions up everything he needs to say, and it's just like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not giving you too much or too little. I'm giving you just the right amount of information that you can
process
naturally
right
process.
now. Yeah. Yeah. And then he even says like, hey, anybody who saw me on TV before, you know, thanks for watching back then, you know, or whatever. So it's like, even if he's not a familiar face to
Yep.
some people, he is a familiar face to at least a couple of them, maybe. And like just saying like I was a TV personality for the people who might not recognize him, that might make them a little bit more comfortable.
More willing to listen too. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're from this time. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
The art is fantastic in this chapter.
As usual, someone made a comment during Eagle's, you know, review earlier, and it's like Boichi's, you know, art just keeps improving. And it's like I never really thought about it before because I always just figured he was just a perfect artist. I was like, improve. I was like, this shit is just 10 out of
Right?
10 at
Being
all
godly
times.
from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm like, you're noticing that? Like that's insane.
No, it has certainly evolved.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know. I'm pretty sure he made the switch from, like, for lack of a better word, analog to digital in the middle of this. I don't know
Oh,
how
wow.
true that is.
Okay.
But, like, he was traditional, and then now if you watch his YouTube channel, it seems like he's all digital. I'm pretty sure these are all digital.
I didn't know he
I
had a
could be wrong.
YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, it's... So he used to just, like, redraw panels or characters, but now he does, like, YouTube-specific videos. Like, he'll take questions, he'll take requests, he'll draw original characters. He just did a video on, like, how to draw backgrounds.
Wow. What a goat. That's
Literally.
like important. The backgrounds are so important. And I feel
Yeah,
like Boichi gets kind of like a little bit of shit for his background sometimes because I know that he incorporates photography into his work. Like a lot of manga could do that, you know what I mean? But I feel like Boichi gets kind of shat on for that a lot of the time.
Well,
And it's like,
that's actually something he said on his YouTube channel. I can't remember the video,
yeah,
but I think somebody asked him, like, where do you get your inspiration? Like, where do you get ideas when you're kind of stuck? And he said, well, I love to travel and take photos.
right.
So he's a big photo guy. So obviously he's going to incorporate that into his manga.
Yeah.
He even said, like, oh, I think the question was, like, how do you draw such great background? So it wasn't this new video. It was, like, an older one.
Sure.
And he said, I'm just constantly taking pictures so that when I have to go back, I can, like, look at the pictures and use those as reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like a lot of manga could do that. I know Inio Asano does that a lot. He's a really big photography guy, and he incorporates a lot of photography into his work. It's really cool to see the process on I don't know if you guys watch the documentary series that Naoki Urasawa has called Monben or Monben Neo, but he basically chooses a mangaka, has his team come in, set up cameras like in their creative space, and then watches them, you know, films them drawing for like a week, and then they review the footage together, and Urasawa and the mangaka have a conversation about it. And Inio Asano was the first one that came on that I watched that actually uses photographs, you know, in their work. And just the process for that is like amazing because he'll like take a picture of like the location and then he'll scan it into his stuff and then edit it in some kind of way, then print it back out after that, and then add more analog illustration techniques to it, and then put it back in the computer and, you know, add more digital stuff to it. So it really, like, I think the quote he had was like, I want people to wonder, is this a photograph or not? You know what I mean? So I don't know if Boichi, you know, shares that sentiment, but I feel like that might be a thought process for a lot of mangaka that use photography in their artwork.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to like alter layer and like alter relayer and alter relayer.
Yeah.
Doing both ends. Like I think it's really interesting how manga as a whole has evolved with the multiple mediums. We grew up with manga talking about like, hey, you know, I'm getting carpal tunnel, I can't do all this stuff, and so like having these new tools reduces the strain, lets them like input pre-saved like background effects, and like being able to like save their bodies to like keep finishing stories. Like
Right.
I appreciate it because like it's like industry that hasn't quite like the medium has evolved quite a bit, but like the
Absolutely.
industry and how they
Mhm.
handle talent doesn't really change. Like we've noticed like cultural changes with like the death of like Kentaro Miura and other artists, and it's like, okay, you know, we need to like really protect our, you know, talents from the demands and rigors of their own vocation.
Right.
Like Jujutsu Kaisen. We don't have a Jujutsu Kaisen chapter this week, and they're talking about like, you know, maintaining health. And like I'm glad that like the culture's evolving, and I'm glad that like the tools are evolving as well.
Yes, absolutely. Any way to make it easier for them.
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
Gege just recently had a surgery, so anytime they got to take off, I'm totally fine with
Yeah,
it.
so you never
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
I don't
Even
want there to
even
be
if they
long
don't,
term-
you know, even if they don't come out with an announcement that says like I'm not feeling well or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just never know.
Mhm.
So yeah.
It's like, nah, you don't have to explain nothing to me. Like,
Right.
I have zero
like, we get it.
entitlement to your
Yeah,
art.
yeah.
I love your art.
For
Like,
sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so the events of the chapter, we come out of this like realization that, or not realization, but the information that a dam was built. You know what I mean? Over in this part of the world that in Japan that they're kind of hanging out in here, and they're waking everybody up. Gen's talking to him, and we almost go like right into we have a television now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now this was I think the composition of the chapter really like because I'm sitting here going like, okay, you have a TV. Like they got me, you know what I mean? They did exactly what they were trying to do, where I'm like, okay, how though? Because there's no way to broadcast anything. So like I didn't even like think like, no, this is just the monitor for, you know, the computer that they clearly been building this entire time. So I was like right along with, you know, the side characters. Like, we're gonna be watching TV. I was like, oh, okay, I can't wait to see how they explain this with no signal. And then it's just not that.
Yeah, I mean, as a person who loves gaming a lot myself, like I was definitely in my feels with Sai when they brought over the console slash, you know, computer.
Yeah.
And it's huge for him as a character to be able to sit here and just code games all day, you know.
Yeah.
That just like he wanted to. And definitely huge, like was it Gen was talking about, or somebody was like, yeah, the world gets really boring, so it's nice to have something to fucking kind of
No, what he was saying is like the world is too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
world,
yeah.
like the world is like really like, you know, kind of hard to exist in, or like kind of like really fucked up in general.
Mhm.
You know, and you need distractions. You know what I mean? Like people need
Mhm.
like a way to escape from the pressures of real life. You know what I mean? Especially in like post-apocalyptic civilization rebuilding times. You
like
know what
a
I mean?
new like a neo prehistoric age.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because if you think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, we're all getting woken up, and you're showing us all these cool inventions that you have, and like you totally know that Senku is like the guy who and his team are the people who are trying to rebuild civilization. So there's a level of like comfort that comes with knowing that people are trying to get things back to normal. But at the end of the day, it's like we're still like so far behind what was normal 3,000 years ago.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to give people something to do, something to think about outside, like, because that only lasts for so long. It's like, okay, we're rebuilding civilization, we got some new tech that we weren't expecting to have coming out of this petrification. That's all cool, but like you have to keep showing people, you know, like what you're working on and what you're doing, and giving people things to do themselves, giving people jobs and shit. Otherwise you might
Yeah.
get a whole lot of people that are just, you know, sad, depressed, like, you know, like antisocial. Like you gotta have those distractions, you know what I mean? I think that's what he was talking
Definitely.
about. Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Ryusui, like one TV in, can't even get any channels yet, and he's already to control the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brings up like Google and Netflix
Classic
and
rich
shit.
kid.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, don't say those names. Like, we're good
I was
without
literally
Google,
saying
bro.
the same thing. I was like, can they say that? Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yo, they totally just name drop like these huge companies. I think if you don't
Yeah.
use the logo or anything, I think
it's
you can
fine.
say, you know, the name of the
Well,
company.
they should be all trademarked, but I think
Yeah.
because they're not really using it in connection with anything. They're just saying the names of the
They're
companies.
like,
I
these
think they're
things
fine.
used to exist. They
Right.
no
Right.
longer exist.
Right.
But like his face in that moment where he's just like, yes, I
Terrifying.
Oh,
could
it's
be
such a
rich
good
and
payment
take over the
too.
It's so
world.
good.
Yes. It reminded me of like Boichi's early like Sunken Rock, where they used to like mug and just be like, I'm the devil, haha,
Yeah.
I'm going to beat you up. It was
Yeah.
really good. It was
Yeah.
very nostalgic for me, at least.
Yeah, Boichi's really good at the maniacal close-up, face shot, you know what I mean? Like determination, anger, rage, like whatever emotion, Boichi is really good at capturing it at a really close distance to the face. So,
Definitely.
dude, and even like on page 7 in the middle, like even when it's not
Sai.
with Sai, even when it's not, an aggressive or extreme expression, doesn't matter how far away the camera is, Boichi can just draw it in like perfect detail and show you the emotion that they're feeling, entirely transparent. Like you don't have to question like, what is this person feeling right now? It's just like he's so good at facial expressions and just everything in general.
Yes.
Speaking of Sai on page 7, I really appreciate that he created kind of like those white speckles to break up the solid black outline of his hair.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle touch, but like it breaks up the space, gives it like depth. And I
Yes.
thought it was like a very masterful touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be really easy to just keep it stark black because it's a manga, but I mean, like Boichi's art is so 3D. It's so photorealism damn near, you know what I mean? So it's like at that distance, you really want to make sure that it has the depth that it needs to fit with the rest of the body, the rest of the
He's showing
face.
Right.
his experience in that. Like
Yeah,
it's just a small
absolutely.
touch, but it goes so far.
Yeah, man.
I think it's funny how he's like so nostalgic about the NES, and he's just like, we put so many donuts, all these like manpower hours into it. And it's just like, we created something the equivalent of an NES, and like for us, in our age,
Yeah.
we're just like, what? Nah, that ain't nothing. Like,
Yeah.
we're running around with terabytes, that
Right,
kind of
right.
shit.
And
it's just like,
yeah.
yeah.
The computer completion, like the computer required page was major for me because it's like when we finally acquire a new thing, especially one as complicated as this to create, I always think about like other times that we've acquired anything and the process that it took to kind of like get there. And it's a computer, so it makes sense. But like we took like the perfect amount of time from the start of the idea we're gonna build the computer to the actual building of it was what, like 6 or 7 chapters. That's a really long time in Dr. Stone right now because so many of these parts and pieces to whatever we're building already exist from other inventions. So it'd be really easy for Riichiro and and Boichi to kind of like fast track the building and the completion of certain things, but they wanted to make sure that there was an adequate amount of time to build this thing so that payoff felt like we kind of went through that with them. Because like I said, like we're at a point where they can really just montage a lot of stuff now, but they really want you to feel how long it took to build this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that at this point in the story.
Yeah, this particular computer is crazy because I remember when they first announced, like, okay, this is it. We're officially making the computer. I was like, I wonder how they're going to do it because they didn't just like start with computers as we know them. Like the first computer technically was, if we're going back, someone by the name of Lady Lovelace in England. I can't remember, but
Yes,
it was
Ada Lovelace.
Yep,
Oh.
exactly what I'm talking about. And it was this big machine, and it had all these levers, and it was basically just like a lever calculator. Like that's it. That's what they used it for. And I thought maybe that's what they were going to do, but I was like, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Right.
And then later, which is kind of what this is a callback to, if I understand it correctly, sort of kind of, is IBM had these computers that they used, I believe, for clocking hours, which is kind of what you see with these punch cards they have. Although I don't think that's a direct comparison.
Where are the
It's
punch
sort
cards?
of similar. Yeah.
Where are the punch cards in this chapter?
So when Sai is putting in the programs,
10, 11, the double spread.
Oh, yeah, when he pulls out, when he's like tacking on the shit.
I don't think that's
Oh,
exactly how the IBM ones worked, but
okay.
as somebody who like kind of briefly studied it, that's what
Right.
I was thinking in my head.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, that's actually based off like the original Ada Lovelace. A little bit about her is that she is the child of like Lord Byron, like the English poet, like the lover boy of Mary Shelley,
No
who
way.
wrote Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Because like that was
Frankenstein.
during that time period where they were discovering like galvanic charges and like how to like how the human body responds to electricity. Ada Lovelace uses cards very similar to that to create to help power her and like kind of create programs for what she called the analytical engine.
hmm
Um, and that was like the first computer ever.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that. It was actually Lady Lovelace.
Wow. Because they make a
Yes.
comment in
She was a
here.
countess, actually.
Or Countess
Yeah,
Lovelace,
yeah.
excuse me.
Contessa Lovelace. I was like,
hmm
she was
So,
really cool.
so wait, that was the first that was technically the first computer?
Technically,
Okay,
if you want
okay.
to be technical, because it wasn't like a calculator like you press a button, because you had to pull all these levers and
Oh,
do it
sure.
yourself.
Yeah,
But
Right.
yeah.
that's technically the first machine. Like, you set it up, and then once you do all the operations, it gives you the answer.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Because I remember they said, and maybe they're just talking about this specific kind of computer to do like what they're trying to do on it. But I'm pretty sure they say in this chapter that the first computer was built in Japan, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. They said a while back that the first one that they based this off of was in Japan.
Sure.
But if you're taking that and then the one from Countess Lovelace,
hmm
that's like God, something like 300-400 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. She's crazy, crazy lady.
Okay.
You're so excited. I knew that.
I love history. I'm a big old history nerd.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The
So,
12 and 13, we have the video games that they're playing, and they go from Tetris to Pac-Man
Pac-Man.
to okay. So what is this one in the top left of 13? Because it's definitely
not
familiar.
sure.
I just
Uh,
don't remember the name.
It's a Star Wars game.
Oh.
Basically, it's the one where you fly the X-wing and you basically just shoot your
Yeah,
way
that's right.
against turrets and stuff, and you drop your little depth charge at the porthole for the Death Star, and that's how you win.
Oh,
And it basically just loops over and
yo.
over again and gets harder and harder and faster until you lose.
Oh, wow.
I was actually at
So it's like the New Hope video game?
basically
Because that's the end of New Hope, right?
the first Star Wars, right?
Yeah, yeah. Episode 4, New Hope, in like 73 or whatever. Yeah, the very first Star Wars film. The end of the end of the very first
There we
Star
go.
Wars film is they blow up the Death Star. Then the end of the
Oh, yeah,
Empire
'cause
Strikes Back is
they
I'm your father. And
swapped the
yeah,
order, which always throws me off. To be
right,
honest.
right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, okay. So
What's
that's
the end of the last one?
the end of Return of the Jedi. That's when they all get their medals and shit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Luke comes back, whoops Vader. Vader, like, takes off his helmet, like kills Palpatine or
Yep.
whatever, and then like they kind of like team up for that,
Yeah.
but it's like, but his
Savage.
helmet is off, and and then
with his death lasers.
yeah. So that's Star Wars, and then and then this one underneath that is Galaga. Then
Didn't they?
Yeah,
rebuild-
somebody I saw on
yeah.
Twitter, they said Galaga.
yeah,
Yeah, that's Galaga. Yeah,
For
I
sure.
called
At,
that, I
like,
called that out in my
up-down.
reaction as well. I was like, oh yeah, they got Galaga here.
yeah.
I went
Go-
to
I didn't know what the top
callbacks
left
to
was
this.
either, though.
Yeah,
Talk
I
about
was
the
just like,
callbacks.
yeah. Man,
Mm-hmm.
love it.
The thing that I thought was really interesting, like just art-wise and things that I really liked, on page like 11, the double spread on 10 and 11, I liked that they had just massive air intakes to just cool off this giant computer
Yeah,
and be like, yep, nope. And I like that like there's the water to kind of cool off to create cool water. I mean, not cool water. Using water to create cool air, like
Yes.
putting a fan in front of a bowl of water, that kind of thing.
right.
And then having the hot air just because heat rises. I liked those little touches. I love the idea that there's like a little stairwell that goes underneath, so you can go underneath the machine and like actually instead of like, well, we can't lift the machine, it's stuck there. We need to
Right.
operate it, and then
Yeah, wow. The
something that
attention
we
to
take-
detail is outrageous in this.
Yes,
film.
no,
That's
it's
insane.
so-
I,
And I think
I
that's
didn't
why we
even
had
notice
that
all
break.
this. What'd you say, OG?
I said I think that's why we had that break, to make sure this was Not like perfectly accurate, but
Yeah,
accurate to somebody who
accurate.
knows what to look for.
Yes,
It definitely
absolutely,
adds to the verisimilitude of that, like that sense
Hmm.
of reality.
for sure.
Um, and then page 13, the thing that we take for granted is like how the lights, like the little sea of lights, and they're
Hmm.
like, okay, cool, we've hit that point of civilization, like because like in the beginning of Dr. Stone, there was parts where like it was dark and
Hmm.
the only light was like a single fire, and I was just like,
Yeah,
that's so bleak at
yeah,
Hmm.
times. And so like seeing where they got now, I was just like, ah man,
yeah,
that represents safety, that represents,
yeah.
so much.
Yeah, give you the zoom out with, the skyline and, all of the lights to
Hmm.
let you know like this is a city. You know what I mean? This is like a
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like if you ever go to like a city with like mountains or anything and like going on the mountain and then looking back at the city and just thinking to yourself like every single light is a person
Yeah.
or a place that a person can be, and just look around, you're like, wow, it really puts one size and place in the world in perspective. I always feel like it's a very beautiful moment, so I
Yeah.
like that they had that touch
Love
in
it.
the chapter.
Oh yeah. I love the chess scene, bro. Like where
Oh
Ryusui
yeah.
and Sai are playing chess
Yep.
and they start talking about, Kasparov Kaknapab.
Kasparov.
Yeah, I can't, I'm probably butchering that. But like, this was cool. Like, I didn't have information like this, but like, this is like information that just makes so much sense right here. You know what I mean? And this like goes into just how informative, Dr. Stone chapters are, even in like offhanded, like side conversations at
Yep.
the bottom of a page. You know what I mean? Or I guess there's a whole page, page and a half, 2 pages dedicated to it, but it just seems like side information, and side information in Dr. Stone is super super important, and because it's like, man, you're reminding the reader along with, man, I don't know if they're are they actually talking to each other about Kasparov, but either way
I,
it's like if they're not talking directly to the reader, they're talking to the reader and the people in the scene and just like reminding them of the history behind things. So it gives you the same kind of it gives you the same kind, it scratches the same kind of itch that like other historical manga do, you know what I mean? But like, just yeah,
Yes.
you know what I mean, like Elusive
Mhm.
Samurai, Rurouni Kenshin, you know what I mean, like anything like that. I mean, obviously this is like modern stuff, but still it's like it hits the,
It's
similarly.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like me, like the history buff and stuff. So like
Hmm.
the Kasparov Deep Blue like moment was like, ah, yeah, that's great. So when OG like brought up Ada Lovelace, I was like, ooh, even better. Let's
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah, for sure.
Ugh.
The
Fire.
funny thing about this, right, is I'm reading the word AI and I'm like, well, wait, their computer isn't that good. But then you think about the chess match and you're like, that was only what, like 1980 something? So it wasn't like AI like we know it today.
Right.
Contrast that to I don't know how long ago it was, but they had an AI controlled league team face off against a competitive league team, and it actually did solidly for like 10 or 20 minutes, but then after that critical point, the actual team, the person team, crushed it because it just didn't have the experience. But like,
Right.
it's kind of weird to think about that. Like, a
Yeah.
computer program in the '80s beat the world's best chess player at the time,
Yeah.
whereas like we're still working out like the really really complicated one.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And like chess is a game, even for its time and just in general, that has so many options, variables, and literally infinite
Mhm.
possible outcomes depending on moves made.
Right.
And yeah, like
Damn near.
Deep Blue, Deep Blue got this dude. And yeah, I never even knew that they tried it with League too. And yeah, I think yeah, what you were saying, like it comes down to the experience of the AI, and like there's just, I guess, that many more variables involved in League of Legends, obviously, because there's just that many things in the game as far as actions go. But like that is a wild comparison from then to now.
Yeah,
Oh
it's crazy
man.
to think about.
Yeah, like you'd think that the AI would just from the 80s to now would just be just like insane, like maybe a
Yeah.
League of Legends game like wouldn't be shit to an AI of 2020 or or whatever. If the
Hmm.
if the AI in the 80s beat the best chess player at the time, like that dude probably was not playing. Like how much more have we learned about chess since then? You know what I mean? That's only like 60 years or
Right.
however long, you know what I mean? Like That's insane. No, not 60
I think
years,
when it
but
came
whatever.
down to was like in chess, like it's
40.
just a matter of
Yeah.
like how many moves can you possibly think of, and then like how does it going to work? Whereas like in League, not only are you thinking of that, but you're also thinking of like all the moving pieces that are just controlled by the computer, all the other pieces that are controlled by the other person.
Right.
Like in League, you have jungling and all that.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
when you have a computer program trying to do that, like 20 plus minutes into the game, all of a sudden it's like the player experience kicks in and starts
Right.
taking advantage of it.
There's too
Right.
many, I feel like, variable phases because, like,
Yeah.
if it goes for like objectives and like a standard like win condition and stuff, it'll have an obvious pattern, and because the players are aware of that, they can move in like anticipation of that, working in tandem and like placing like wards to confirm their suspicions and stuff. Whereas a computer is always going to try to take the optimal move, and in that in itself is usually a weakness. Like
That's a
how a lot
really
of
good
people beat like
point.
a lot of people will like beat like chess computers that are scaled down because you know like they scale them from like 10 to 1 or right like in most stuff like if you do like Yahoo chess showing my age but like you know they have that stuff where
Yahoo
like people would be
chess.
like oh yeah you're gonna try to go for this optimal thing and so I do a throwaway move and then that causes that but like if like the deep blue thing where Kasparov's like I'm gonna try to feint you and then it's just like no I am the level 100 chess computer. I'm gonna take as much time as I need to figure out if this is an optimal move or not.
Yes.
And then bam boom.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting to see how like computers evolve and stuff. Because like to be honest, I could probably get beaten in a game of chess by a Tamagotchi. Like,
Oh,
I'm a
same,
hasty,
100%.
emotion-driven player.
Yeah.
But like, OG, since you jinxed us, how do you feel about the tail end of this chapter? Like, lead us in.
I thought it was perfectly timed because, like I've said in a bunch of my videos, especially the villain one, when everything is going right, that's when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, everything's been going like smooth sailing for a little too long. So this was perfectly timed. And this was sort of, well, first I want to mention something that still hasn't been addressed, which I feel like is just kind of going to get brushed away, which was chapter 180-ish when we had the second worldwide petrification.
Yeah.
There was a light above the radio tower on top of like Sukasa's mountain, the one that's like all craggly. There was a light and it was like clearly like maybe like 12 hours after the petrification. So it was clearly like, unless it was the moon, which it kind of doesn't look like it's the moon, it looked like it was some source of technology, but that still hasn't been addressed. So that could be a hint to what's going on. It was like 180 something, like
I'm going
right
back
when
and
the
trying
world
to
got
find it
petrified.
right now.
So,
Yeah.
But coming back to this, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know the Medusa made a click sound. I thought it just
Yeah.
shows how much I pay attention.
I didn't know either, dude.
Yeah.
I read that at the end of the chapter and I was like, have they always been doing that? They must have, but like I don't remember that.
I bet it's like a very small sound, but like, so it's
Yeah.
not often like touched upon. But like, usually when like the Medusas are being activated, like you know during the fight with Stanley and their squad, like they're busy. Okay, like it's chaotic and just like, all right, let's go. So like, I could see how a little click might just be sneaking past us.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder because with the information you just gave us about like the light after their thing.
191.
Yep.
Would Wyman like maybe I wonder if it was like a response to Wyman. Like if Wyman is still active and observing the Earth, and then they see like these forced Medusa like bursts, like a worldwide burst of Medusa energy, and they're like, that's not normal. And so maybe they sent a signal from the moon to the Medusas left on Earth to trigger if certain conditions are made. And so I think that putting it in a vacuum to preserve it would cause it to like it's sensitive information, right? So if it's like the machine is like aware that it is in a vacuum or like isn't like thing, it might be why it explodes. So
Okay.
like
Yeah,
why
because I was
man
gonna ask the
sent
question, like, what do you guys think is the reason why it's activating right now? So I
I
think
think it's because they put
I
it in a
was
vacuum.
also thinking in my reaction that it was because they put it in the vacuum tube. I was like, that's the only variable that's
I feel like
changing.
that was the trigger. Like,
yeah.
Y-Man basically sent that light 12 hours after the mass world petrification to the Medusas down there and were like, blow up, self-destruct if you're under a vacuum because they're trying to preserve knowledge, right? And he's like, well, if it worked once, then they're gonna do it again, and I could just get rid of them that time.
Bro, if Y-Man is on some like five-headed shit like that, like, how do
I
you
mean,
account for that?
that's the thing. This pushes me towards like this chapter where they're talking about like how Deep Blue took a long
I was gonna
time
say that, yeah.
and
Oh.
did that. I want that.
Oh.
I This is towards my theory that Y-Man is an AI
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
because
Is
he's
that a
that far
thing?
ahead.
Yeah,
That's
that
my
is
theory.
100% a thing. I can confirm. I've seen tons of people say Y-Man. Their pet theory is that Y-Man is like a robot or an AI.
hmm And that's why he's
Damn.
just because he's like,
Yo.
how do I deal with like humanoids reviving and then messing with my tool, my
Oh
toy?
no, that dude, that makes all the sense in the
It
world,
would make a lot of
bro.
sense, especially for anyone who's read the reboot. It's not like we
It's
haven't seen it before.
I haven't read the
oh,
reboot. That's the Byakuya shit, right?
Yeah, I won't say anything more than that.
Sure,
But
sure.
it's within the realm
Yo.
of possibility.
Thank you for reading that. I love that little one off. It was a really
That's
That's
Dr. Stone's story, by the way, but we won't talk about it.
whoa, really?
In my opinion, if
Is
my
it
opinion means anything.
wasn't that
don't
entirely like done by Boichi? Wasn't there like no Riichiro
So,
Inagaki involved in that?
as I understand it, Inagaki did the dialogue, but Boichi did everything else. So he did the
Oh,
storyboards, he did the drawings, the everything except for the dialogue.
that's the Marvel method. So
Mhm.
like back in for those who don't know, back in like the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, I think it was like around like the time that Spider-Man like first came out, Stan Lee created the Marvel method where he would go to his creative team, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, you know, whoever else was around and be like, "Okay, you create the story in all of the ways besides text." So you do the storyboards, you create the characters, and you like draw the entire chapter. No dialogue bubbles. I'll go in and add the dialogue myself to your drawings. You know what I mean? So that's how we got things like
oh
Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer was entirely a Jack Kirby creation. He just added Silver Surfer, created the character, designed it, and added it in, you know, the story after Stan told him what kind of story he wanted, and then Jack Kirby's storytelling created Silver Surfer and drew the rest of that,
Very
you know,
cool.
yeah, you
that
know,
would
drew
be
the rest of that
wild, like a
chapter.
silent movie.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay, so wait. That's amazing. I love that. I love hearing that. I need to read
Mm.
The Byakuya reboot. If it's
Uh,
really Marvel method like that, that's insane.
yeah, it's funny because so with the normal story, Inagaki storyboards it and he does all the writing. But then when he storyboards it, he gives it to Inagaki or to Boichi, and
Yeah.
then Boichi is like, "Oh my god, this is so good!" And then he does the character designs because Inagaki will give him notes and he'll do like kind of rough sketches. But he's
Mm,
like, "Boichi, this is your department. Go to
yes.
town." And then Boichi draws it, and Inagaki will literally go, "Oh, so this is what they look like." So it's very cool.
Yo, I
Mm.
love
Contrast that
that.
contrast that to the reboot where the story is pretty much all there, like all the source material.
Hmm.
But for this particular story, Boichi did everything but the dialogue.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I
Oh
love hearing
man.
about that inside of manga because that was a
Mm.
revolutionary way of comic book, you know, style of comic book creation at the time, and it influenced like a lot inside of the medium itself. Like once that started being like
I'm glad
public
the
knowledge.
technique is maintained.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally have never heard of that like confirmed inside of manga yet. So like that's
That's
like
great.
little
Um,
goosebumps going on over here.
Man, so like that I think that like the end of like page 17 and like the 18, 19 and like the final double spread on 20 and 21, it to me almost reminds me of a little bit of a horror story, like not just because of like the deadpan faces where they're like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got us, but like I think like we've always seen the Medusa as like really shiny, and so when it's set in a vacuum, it goes completely dull and dark,
Yeah.
has
Oh, wow.
no anything
I
about it,
noticed.
and that might just be because it's in a lightless environment, but like that for me it follows the formula for a horror movie, right, where you take the monster, you lock it away, and then rattle 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 from its cage,
Sure.
breaks out, causes hell. And I was like, ooh man, 4-page horror story, let's go. Just
Yeah.
nice little change. And like I'm just surprised, I'm really taken aback by the force, right? Like on end of like 19, it's like a black fiery concussive wave
Yeah.
coming out, like very different from what the Medusa normally does, where
Yeah.
it's like shining light.
Yeah,
So
why is Yo just like, that's Yo, right?
That's yeah.
Why is Yo just like breaking up? Like, why is he shattering?
Well, people were unclear about it because, as you pointed out, the light looks different.
It
It might be the
does.
same, but it definitely looks different. But it's unclear if this was some sort of explosion,
I
because
feel like it was.
that was a lot of metal, though. And when you look at that final spread, you don't see. Maybe there is with the stone, and it's just hard to tell, but you don't see any chunks of metal
Right,
exploding with them.
right.
Well, I mean,
Well, Oh no,
doesn't
this is
light
hair.
have its own sort of mass? Because like
It
light
technically does, yeah.
light is bent by gravity and
Mhm.
other things. So like I feel like with this concentrate, because it's a light-based weapon, so I
Um,
think that it has enough weight, maybe, or at least
if
it's
I'm
pushed
if
out.
I'm being technical, I don't think it's technically light because when Senku, Zeno, and Chrome were like blowing bubbles and trying to recreate it,
Yeah.
they said something like, "Well, it's not pure light. It's like I forget the term they use, but it's like it's this film because it creates this sort of substance. It's like a film, so it's not pure light per se, but there is light involved."
Substance?
I don't remember the word they used, but they were like, it's like a film, not like a liquid
Oh,
exactly. If you
like
go
a
back, they make a point about it. They're like, it's not, we're wrong about it. It's not light
So wait, if it's
alone. It's
not
some sort of
light,
substance.
what could that what would it be?
I don't
plasma.
remember. I would have to go back and look at how they said it because I don't remember if they said, oh, the film is just on like the perimeter or like it's the whole thing. But they made a point about, no, it's not just light.
All
Oh
I
right,
my
specifically
god.
remember
it
that.
has force.
Oh.
But like I'm still I'm convinced it's going to be Y Man saying no. Once it's set in a vacuum, self-destruct, freeze everything, pre-programmed. Like once the condition is met,
Mm.
That's
because
like
like
such a five-headed play, dude. Like, holy
yeah,
shit.
I mean, I would
so,
have to think they thought ahead, like, okay, well, somebody's going to figure out, oh, well, it's voice activated. Just put it where voice can't reach. Duh.
Yeah, for sure. And if it does enter, an environment where, sound can't reach it, what happens? So, like,
Mm.
yeah, it might not even be specifically if they put you, in this specific contraption. Well, I guess this would have to be the contraption if you were trying to make sure sound didn't reach it, right?
yeah.
It would have to
Mhm.
be
I
something like this.
imagine it's like
So I guess that's not too
like
crazy then.
contingency, right?
Yeah.
Like like people don't want their technology to fall in the hands of their enemies, so it's like no, destroy yourself, like go.
Right.
Like I just think it's a loss prevention thing. It's like, well,
Sure.
you can utilize it, but once you try to like paralyze it and like break it down, that's when I need you to go.
Yeah.
Like anybody that reaches that point is the bigger threat.
But then,
I
but
also-
then, how does it not explode when they're tinkering with it? Then how does it not? Like, how are they able to break it apart and look on the inside and try to rebuild
I mean, they
it
did that
and dissect
before.
it? Yeah.
I think they did it before the big flash. So like,
Oh, sure. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So these
it was
aren't like
only an
original
issue
contingencies.
once they used it. Yeah.
Right.
It was a
Okay.
contingency made after the worldwide, definitely visible from space
Sure.
Right.
burst.
So OG, did you have a like specific theory for why this was happening like before the conversation, or is it like kind of? I think I remember you saying that it was kind of along the lines of what Mello was going into when he first started talking about what he thought was going on. Did you have anything you were thinking outside of that?
No, I was thinking all that going into this, but literally
right.
right this second, something just occurred to me
Uh-oh.
when we were talking about vacuums. What if Y-Man anticipated someone going to space? When you go to space, even when you're in a rocket, that's a vacuum. So he said, I don't care what you do on Earth, but if you come to space, I'm not letting you have a Medusa.
Yo.
Oh,
Wait,
dude, and it
that makes
makes
so much
total
sense then,
sense.
because then the fact that they are using the vacuum tube before going to space
It won't work anymore.
informs them of the contingency before they're in the rocket.
And that would mean they'd have to reprogram a new one.
Yeah, so then now they know what Y-Man is up to and can prepare for that as they go to the moon. So if they would have never put this shit in a vacuum tube, they would have got on the fucking rocket and
It would have blown up.
Oh no!
That is my pet theory. I did not.
Game. I love it.
Oh,
I did not
so
see anyone.
good.
I did not see anyone say that on Reddit or Twitter today. It literally just occurred.
You
to
heard
me.
it here first,
fire.
folks.
You heard
Hell
it
yeah.
here first. Oh my god, that's insane.
I have to think somebody said
now.
it, but that's
Sure.
the first I'm thinking of it.
Sure,
right now.
yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's mind blowing to think
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
Nope, I have
So
limited
do we think
perspective. This is
Gen and
completely
Yo are gonna be out of there, or do you think they're
No.
alright?
Because like, okay, so here's the thing, right? So like we don't know like what the distance is that it's going to go. Like if this is a contingency plan, then like it has to have a preset distance, right? I don't think it's going to just expend all of its energy to cover as big of an area as it possibly can just because it was put into a vacuum tube. So since no distance was actually like declared, I want to say it's probably not going to be that big of a distance to where everyone in the immediate area, or not even just the immediate area, but everyone, like someone is going to be able to survive this burst
Yeah.
of petrification so that they can be revived with, you know, the revival fluid or whatever. So like, and being broken to pieces doesn't matter because you have like Yuzuriha, you know what I mean, or whoever is on her crafts team that can
I
put your
wonder,
shit back
though,
together.
like,
So
does he get pulverized? Because like he's missing a lot of chunks
right.
of himself. Like, yeah, you're turned into stone, but like if you're turned into sand, no matter how good you have like a puzzle maker, it might just be like, hey, you know what? We got Yo, but like if we revive him, he's missing his lower jaw, so we need to make like a prosthetic or something.
I don't even think it works like that. I think you have to just get all the pieces in the right spot. So if they're, well, I don't know though, right? Because it's like if you,
They
Yeah.
talked
The
about,
way it's been
turning him back to
illustrated
bleed
is
from a wound.
I'm sorry, what was
yeah,
that?
good.
no. I was just gonna say the way it's been illustrated. At least my understanding is, we still don't know how much you can break a person beyond like turning them to sand because we
Right.
have the instance of Soyuz's dad. That happened before we figured out about immortality.
Right.
So there's still the question of like, if I split your head open while you're petrified, like if you're like brand new, right? He was old. So that was another factor. But like, Yo, right? Let's say they split his head open. Would they be able to glue it and then put it back? That's one question. But the
You have
way I
to
understand
use
it
your
is
brain.
as long as you glue everyone together, like perfectly together, it'll heal all injuries. Because, I
Right.
mean, our boy Hyoga was, well, a bunch of people were all Swiss cheese.
Right.
And they were just fine.
Right.
Yep.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You're right.
And there's the point about Koseki where he's not even broken necessarily. And every time they revive him,
He's a little
his
bit younger.
bones, his bones are all fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Oh man, that's kind of interesting because like now that makes me wonder if like Yo is gonna come back with like a solid black like under chin to like replace his like not like as a sign that he sustained that wound.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
What if,
because it follows a lot of the cracking, right? Like even when they revive
Yeah.
like new people, they have like marks on their faces and stuff where
Yeah.
they're looks like cracks.
yeah. But like then you have characters like Sai, where it's like when we saw him petrified, his arms seem to be like totally
Exactly.
intact.
I wonder if he's gonna have that on his like face.
Right, but like
Like,
Sai's
like,
arms are stark black, but his arms didn't look too crazy in the petrification render that we had
Right.
for him. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
yeah, you know,
I
so
feel
like yeah.
his whole thing was that he used his arms so much that there was like the
Oh,
most like carpal
sure.
tunnel, right? right?
Yeah, like he already had the damage from being a coder.
And then it just healed it, yeah.
Oh shit. That's cool. That's cool to think about. Wow.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
chapter, dude.
Yeah.
So good.
good.
I knew
And,
it.
like-
I knew it. I called it. I was like, somebody's dying. Somebody's getting sniped. Somebody's getting set on fire, and I jinxed it.
To your point
Actually,
though,
jinxing it
to
is
your
a
point though,
great
OG, like
film.
well, I was talking about it, or we were talking about it in earlier reviews. It's like, okay, so like Y Man seems to be like final boss. What kind of conflict can they run into potentially before they go
Mhm.
to the moon? And like I was trying to think about it, like it doesn't make sense that they would have any kind of real enemy or any kind of real obstacle, you know what I mean, before they go to the moon, because it's like we already got like the dichotomy of like Senku versus Tsukasa in the first like couple arcs, and then you go into, you know, the Treasure Island stuff, like where they have to fight the Medusa again, you know what I mean, or people that were like controlling, you know, the Medusa themselves. So you have that arc. Then you have like the beautiful, you know, Xeno versus Senku arc, and it's like, what other kind of legitimate issues can they run into before Y-Man that doesn't feel like a rinse repeat of a previous arc? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is just going to be smooth sailing, build everything you need to, and then go up to the moon, and then there's your next conflict for real. But like now, like this situation right here, based on the conversation that we just had, it's like they just keep making the perfect decisions on how to introduce stakes and conflict and worry in the series without reusing anything. And it's just
I
like,
mean, I
holy
feel like-
shit.
I feel like the major conflicts are all like pre-planned, even if it's just a bullet point, and then being able to expand it from there.
Sure.
Especially with like
Mm.
what we know about like how they handled like the Byakuya one-off.
Yeah.
So like I feel like they definitely did all that planning and stuff.
The level of like planning just feels so insane in Dr. Stone. Like the forward
They have
thinking.
to. There's
Yeah,
no way with all these plot twists.
Yeah, they've had to have like every single massive point,
Mhm.
every single major turning point just figured out before they even really started
I
getting to
mean,
work on this.
They had
Otherwise,
the
it's like-
Medusa figured
Yeah.
out down to a T, and
Yeah.
it's just been spoon feeding us little bits here and there.
Yeah.
It's been great.
there's
Right.
no other explanation to why it feels like it's just puzzle pieces being put into position the entire series. You know what I mean? And whenever it feels like
Mhm.
that, you know you have, you know, a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 kind of series, as long as, you know, the content is compelling, of course. But I feel like it's so rare to get this feeling of comfortability in, you know, story composition. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially inside of Shonen series. So weekly Shonen series at that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So hats off to the creative team
Yeah.
as usual. That's all I had for Dr. Stone this week, though.
Yeah, I think that's about all I had as well.
Massive convo. Holy shit, it's like an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 81 of Mashle, Mosh Burn Dead, and the Excellent Friends.
Mhm.
And this was such a huge chapter for Lemon, obviously.
Yeah.
It felt so good for me, and obviously it fits perfectly for her to be the one that was like speeching to these bitch ass people about Mosh and
Yeah.
like, how they felt about him,
Yeah.
given her relationship with him.
Yeah.
I hope I hope we see more Big Lemon stuff in the future, because like I know we've had discussions on the podcast about how we feel her character is not lacking, but you know, underused in certain areas, and
Sure.
she could be, you know, she could play a bigger part in some certain aspects of the story.
This was massive for her. I feel like it was right on
Yeah.
time, because like I always just forget she's a character. You know what
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean? So having this, you know, and not only just this chapter for, you know, Lemon and as a character, but also the fact that it's coupled with the like theme of this chapter going into, you know, the the situation where it's like, if you don't have magic, you're not shit. You know what I mean? It's like the same
Yeah.
kind of like Black Clover, like noble classism stuff is being addressed here, and the voice of it is Lemon. Like that was just a major combination of decision making in this chapter, I want to say, because it's like not only did we really need this for Lemon, but it's like right on time for that theme to kind of be revisited inside of Mashle. So it's just right on time. They've been playing bullshit for 15 hours?
15 hours is
Son, that's insane. And like that's the kind of
Right.
comedy.
Bless them.
Yeah, that's the kind of comedy that like That's why I'm here for the comedy inside of Mashle. It's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, 15 hours.
Speaking of
And,
comedy, did anybody else die when Dot decided to
Don't.
be
I was just
Mashle's
gonna
agent?
yeah,
I was just gonna say his little speech. Go to hell.
I'm your agent. We prepared a little briefing and eat shit and die.
I
Fuck
just
you.
thought about it now. Like this reminded me of Uraraka, kind of like
I was
Very
gonna
much.
say,
I'm
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
I just thought about it right now. I was like, hold on, this is like really close to like
Big.
3 chapters ago when Uraraka
Mhm.
did this exact same
Big
shit for
Uraraka
Deku.
ass, yeah,
Or
I
for
bet
Deku, yeah.
I bet the author was just like watching that chapter. And he's like, "Oh man, I need to give it some time before I have this moment."
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Looking over
Stretch these
Kohei's
comedy
shoulder.
Dang
moments
it,
out a little
I was gonna do
bit.
that 2 chapters from now.
He's like, why don't I
I'm
just have them
gonna
play
add some
bullshit
stuff.
for 15 hours?
Right.
Right? And it was the
Gotta let
funny,
that one
you know,
breathe.
the
Yeah.
funny moment where she's like, "I'm Mosh Burndead's wife."
Oh, that's so funny.
In
I
your
love that
reaction,
bit.
you were like, "Wait, they're married?" And I was like, "No, man,
No.
she's just psycho."
Well, no, because that's what the dialogue says. He's married.
Oh,
like-
you were reading the dialogue bubble. I'm so
Yeah.
stupid.
Goofy.
I was sitting here going like, "Come on, Eagle, you know they didn't get married."
Her
I love
crazy,
that bit.
crazy
I don't
level
care what
is
people
like
say.
Should smack
super
you.
highlighted. Not just be like, "I'm the wife," no soulmate. But when she says like red manacles of fate, like it's not, it's red string of fate. Red manacles. Oh, girl, you're gonna like lock his ass up in a basement? Like,
Yo,
alright,
locking him
like,
down.
welcome to Death Diary. I'm soon like yonder as
they-
fuck.
They
Yeah,
straight threw a rock at her face, and
yeah.
Mosh, I was laughing because he was about to like turn up on him, like he was about to go down there and start
Yeah.
knocking heads
Mhm.
off, and
Right.
Lance had to like, "Yo, chill, bro, like, calm down."
Yeah, that panel of him being like, "What'd you say? Hold on." You know what I mean? Like, "What'd you do?" You know, like he's about
Well,
to
that
go
was
grab
after,
me.
yeah, that was after they hit
They threw the
Lemon in,
rock.
like the
yeah.
face, yeah.
They threw the rock at her, and Mash was just about to activate, like right away. No words, just movement. And Lance is like, "Hey, you know how fast you got to be, or not fast, but you know how like well you have to understand Mash in order to like stop him from like Twitch responses. This dude is beyond sound barrier breaking." You know what I mean? Like if Mash decides to like run somewhere at the drop of a hat and turn up, like you don't have that long to put the hand on that shoulder. You know what I
Right.
mean? So the fact that Lance was already ready, like I know Mash is gonna be pissed about this. Like I feel like that's like a low key like banger Lance moment right there.
Yeah.
Also, Lance has actually gotten sleep too. So
Oh yeah, because I think he quit like right away, right?
he was just like, "Nah, dog, I'm done." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Lance was like, "You guys are idiots. Why are you playing this game?"
Yeah. Dude, I love
no,
Lance,
I
man.
love that.
Oh,
I
it's the
love
best.
I love the I love how okay, so like whenever we're in these situations in any story that kind of like focuses on this theme of we have magic, you don't. I can't remember how many times a situation like this has like come up inside of Black Clover where the whole like there's an angry mob of people that don't like, you know, slum kids or whatever they're clowning, you know, Asta for in the story. I can't remember too many times where he's like, "Oh yeah, well like let me flex real quick in a way that like shows you like where my place in the bigger picture actually is, since you want to think that I'm not shit. Let me flex real quick and like kind of put things into perspective for you." I can't remember too many moments inside of Black Clover like that, but whenever you have this kind of dynamic where, you know, a character is being looked down upon by other people that have what they don't, and what they're lacking is like their defining trait almost. It's like, man, having Mash sit here and he gets put in the fucking like iron coffin and just do makes a door, walks out of it. Everyone can see that.
Finger.
Yeah,
Mm.
and with his finger, everyone is seeing this. Like he literally has like a huge, massive group of people that think the same way about him, watching him just effortlessly deal with this magic after they were just like, "You're weak, you have none, you can't do anything because you don't have any," and then he just perfectly counters you, smooth as shit, no effort. You know what I mean? Like like, yeah. Even if they're still gonna hate after this, they still saw that part. You know what I mean? Like you can't deny what just happened in front of all of these people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's gonna be little subtle shit like this throughout the rest of the series where they're like, "Okay, wait a minute, this shit doesn't actually matter, and we just suck." You know what I mean?
I loved the guy who kind of has like this weird like he has like the cleft lip that makes him look very
the-
mousy, but
and the
also
comb over
like
haircut,
vaguely
yeah.
looks like a pussy. Like,
Yeah.
and
And
he
he's just
kind of
like-
is. Like, he's just a little wiener, right? Like,
Those
he's just
walls
like,
are 15 centimeters thick, capable of trappling even large magic beasts.
I love how
Those
you
walls
saying
are
it over
look
and
at
over.
15
You
centimeters
look at
thick.
him, that's his voice.
capable of
Whoa.
capturing large magical beasts.
Yeah, and then he starts saying it like a question, like these are 15 centimeters thick, capable of trapping magical beasts. He's like almost not sure of himself anymore.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
he's
funny.
breaking down. His
Yeah.
schema is being shat upon.
Yeah, and then not only to just walk out of the prison, but to also just pick it up, put it around you, and then close the door on you is just
He
like,
throws the door too.
yeah,
Throws that door that he made. And he just like nails it like
Yeah.
he's so good at beer pong. Like he just like landed like, right in there, and it's just like shoved in. And that guy, he's like, well, I mean, it's my spell. That's not going away until I release that spell, right?
right, right.
Like, oof,
God,
big
that's so
L,
funny.
and he got
Yeah.
like huge L like in front of everyone, and they're like,
Right.
"Ooh, I mean, that guy was like some sort of capture specialist, so
Right.
well,
And I love Mash's
maybe we
dialogue.
can't arrest him.
I love Mash's dialogue as he finally like makes a statement in front of all these people. He's like, "All right, so I know, you know, it's been this way for a while. You guys are stuck in your ways. You know what I mean? I understand traditional ways of thinking and all of this stuff, and like maybe you feel like, you know, this change is a little bit too new and you don't like things, but like I'm gonna do what I'm going to do, and I'm gonna let you guys know that not having magic is totally okay too." I feel like this line of dialogue is like so mash because I feel like it would be easy to just give him, you know, the public speech dialogue that like is just perfect for the moment, no matter who the character is. You really just want to get that statement out there, but like making sure that it makes sense that your character would say these things is also important. So you kind of have to go, okay, do I want to get the message out in like the perfect way that I would say it, or am I going to say it the way that it needs to be said by the character involved? And like Mash, like his personality, the exact things that he says in this moment, I feel like was just like so like spot on. And I know that it's a translation thing and like it can vary from like thing to thing, but I was reading it and I was like, okay, Mash said everything perfectly, and it was like entirely inside of his character to make a statement like this, worded exactly this way. So I just
Yeah,
appreciated
the
that.
OK sold it for me because
Yeah.
Mash is just kind of like a bull. He's a himbo, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's a straight up himbo.
Not having
Okay.
magic is totally okay too. You know, I thought about so many different ways that this statement could be made, and it's like this is the way Mash would say it. And whenever I feel that inside of a main character's monologue, I'm just like, yeah.
And then Wahlberg, you know, perfectly timed, shows up at the end to like dovetail right off of Mash's point. Like, look, we just hang in a little bit longer. We'll show you what's good. You know.
Yes, yes.
I like that he kind of shames them. It's like, in the meantime, we ask for your patience for a bit. And he's like, hey, we're putting him through the test so that we can decide what to do. Like, don't jump the gun kind of thing. And like, their society is wholly based on like, magic is holy and all this other stuff, but like magic is power. And Wahlberg is still top dog.
Right.
Those guys weren't around for when Innocent Zero like wiped him out.
Right.
Like,
And it's major that Wahlberg even says the things that he says, because he's the pinnacle of magic to these people. Like, this is their headmaster. Yeah. This is the person who you listen to no matter what he's got to say. But he just understands society so well that it's like, bro, it doesn't matter what you say, what you do. Like, you just have to have the list of feats necessary for people to like you and accept you. You know what I mean? I could say whatever the fuck I want. I could be like, I'm headmaster. I've reached this point because I'm clearly supposed to be here. You guys are all beneath me, technically. You guys should listen to me no matter what I say. He can't just say, yo, let Mash slide. The indoctrination is too, you know, deep. You know, it's too strong. You know what I mean? Like, you have to show these people, not tell them. Even if it's me, Wahlberg, telling them, it doesn't matter. You have to provide the results that will change their mind. You know what I mean? So that was just great for Wahlberg too, because it's like, man, it's like you could have very easily just strong-armed the whole conversation. Like, Mash is cool, y'all can't do nothing about it. I'm the headmaster. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? But it's almost like that Gojo way of thinking, where it's like, I could just go into the, you know, the Jujutsu, you know, higher-ups and just kill all of them. But then people will be like, you really just killed everyone because they didn't agree with you? Oh, now we really don't fuck with you. You know what I mean?
How
like,
does
you
that
have to
make me any different from Innocent Zero?
Right, you have to change it, you know, on a deeper level than just I'm the headmaster, do what I say, you know what I mean? So like it was just a really deep exchange, deep progression of events, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely fits his compassionate personality.
And it just like shows his wisdom, it shows his experience, it shows that he just understands the people and deserves to have this headmaster position, that keeps showing Wahlberg in these situations that let you know that he's the one who's supposed to be here in this spot, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
love it. And I always love like the line of dialogue, like, you have excellent friends, like you chose amazing disciples, like your pirate crew is awesome, you know, like someone always says that, you know, in a shonen manga specifically, like to the main character, and it's always hype. It always is just such a feel good moment when someone like at the status of Wahlberg is telling you like, you're doing it, bro, you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about shit, like you got it figured out. And it's just like, yeah.
Like, it makes you think, you know, to the moment when Shanks is gonna tell Luffy, like, you've made a fine crew.
Yes, I feel like Luffy, like so many people have said that in One Piece. Kuma said that. Kuma at the end of Thriller Bark or whatever, he was like, Dragon, you got one hell of a son, and he's got one hell of a crew. You know what I mean? Like whenever that line of dialogue comes out, you're just like, oh yes.
Love the acknowledgements.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, I don't know, it's super validating. And
Yeah.
like I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, dude. I feel like this is a really straightforward chapter though. Like there's
I
not
think
a whole
that's-
there's not a whole lot of meat and potatoes. I mean, it's very straightforward. The major speaking points are like all there, like laid out, you know what I mean? Like like otherwise it's just comedy, and then like this theme being driven home by Mash, Lemon, and Wahlberg, you know what I mean? So just a
I
great
think that's
chapter.
about all I had for this chapter.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. OG, did you have anything else?
No, I just like that Wahlberg shows up and basically politely goes, "Peanut gallery,
Right.
peanut gallery."
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I am part of the major deciding factor, and we've got the situation under control.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just chill.
Y'all
They've
can
got
eat dick.
top men on it.
Mhm.
Top men.
Top men.
You just saw what happens to amateurs trying to deal with this guy.
Right. Oh wait, real quick question. So do these people know like Mash's role? No, because they were frozen during the Innocent Zero stuff, right? Does that mean that they couldn't see anything or didn't know what was happening? Because it's like Mash was going crazy in front of everyone during that.
Yeah, they everyone else was frozen during that.
They were frozen.
Yeah.
So
They
like,
saw the end where the Cyclops, like he bodied the Cyclops, right?
yeah, they did see that. Yeah. So like,
I
what
feel
the hell?
That was
These
mostly
people
school
really
students.
suck.
I feel like it was students that witnessed
Oh.
the Cyclops things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a school-wide event, whereas like these people, they found out through a newspaper,
And
were
then
just
it
like,
was
Yeah.
it was
These are
even
denizens.
It
Yeah.
was even
Yeah, these are
explicitly
just
stated
citizens.
that they doctored the newspapers and shit to
Yes.
change what people thought about what happened. to
Yes,
them.
absolutely. Thank you for reminding me of that, because I was like, because whenever this kind of situation happens, like My Hero Academia, everybody like clowning Midoriya, even though he whooped Kisaki above the entire city, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. I'm like, didn't y'all see, you know, this person like turn the fuck up on your behalf? Like, how are you still so shitty? And I thought like, man, do these people just suck that bad that it doesn't even matter that Mash flexed and saved everybody in front of them? They still just hate him no matter what. But yeah, the information was edited, and these are just citizens of, you know, the Magic City and not actual students that were there watching the exam. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, these are just a bunch of stooges that like read newspapers to
Yeah.
get their information.
Yeah.
Fools, utter buffoons.
Fox News,
Cool.
angry Fox News mob.
But yeah, I think that about
conspiracy.
Yeah.
that about does it for Mashle, I think. This week.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into another pretty straightforward chapter where I feel like there's only really one major talking point and one real talking point about the chapter. Chapter 308 of Black Clover. You know, Grinberryall.
Grinberry, y'all.
And I don't know, the reason I said that is because it seems like the Asta, or not, the Finral and Langris shit is really just brushed over.
Okay,
Like one
let's
page.
talk about this. Because okay, so they run up on Zeno, and they hit him with this really cool after image behind the back, like, you know, combo spatial magic attack, and then you get this cleaved in half, you know, panel at the bottom of 3, and then some time passes, obviously, and then they're just like cooked. And then he says, even spatial magic that erases everything couldn't destroy the devil's heart. Do we have anything yet that kind of lets us know why this happened this way? Because I want to say, like, this is either information that Topic is going to give us later about why this particular heart is so strong. You know what I mean? Because it's like, Noel, just in Saint stage, just like slices, you know, Megikula's
I feel like
heart
it's
in
that
half.
he made the pact with the devil to give him the actual heart.
Oh.
Remember
I
that
don't
was like a
know.
chapter or two ago. It was stated that he actually made a pact with a devil to give him a literal devil heart.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So Megikula didn't have one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think
Maybe
it
it's
might
the
have been the
pact
Saint
that-
stage, right? Like infusing your ability with holy power, whereas like Langris and Finral, they don't have like holy dimension. There's no saintly dimension magic, right?
Right,
Like
right.
they don't have access to it. So I feel like to fight a pure devil, you need either that something that is using like saint magic,
Sure.
spirit magic, like using sylph,
Right.
and devil magic. So like devils can only be truly harmed or defeated by
One of 3 things.
something that's
yeah.
equivalent, right? Because
Right.
like devils are sort of like outsider element where they're impervious to most magics. So needing saint stage magic, needing elemental like spirit magic, needing borrowed devil magic in the case of Asta will be necessary to
Okay.
cut him down.
That's
I
cool.
feel like that's my solution.
I like that.
But like
yeah.
I was confused too because I was like, man, how do you like something that cuts the space of something?
Yeah, it's like this is
That's
literally just like
insane.
raw matter deletion almost, you know, I want to say, you know,
Yeah.
like so it's like, man, it's like it's all kind of existing in the same realm of like abilities, you know what I mean? Like magic, mana, you know what I mean? Like this is a straightforward deletion spell, and I just caught you with like a crit essentially inside of a direct hit for this, you know what I mean? In your soft
Yeah.
spot, you know what I mean? So if I need a specific area of this energy, if I need to be able to tap into a specific area of this energy, Saint Stage magic, whatever privileges, you know, that Mello was kind of talking about in order to damage you, then like that's cool. And Tabata will probably say that. But in the meantime, I'm sitting here going like, how does not even this work? Like they caught you dead to rights with matter deletion right on your heart. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy that your heart can withstand that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, or is it like, was it a fake heart? Was it an illusion? Is your heart actually like in your stomach and like it's an illusion? Like I was trying to figure out ways to like work it out until the whole Pokemon type thing, right? Where it's like elemental type, where it's like I'm a ghost and you're using normal attacks, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
I was
fine.
just not entirely sure.
I would
Yeah.
just like to say it's worth noting. I just noticed. So when they cut him in this chapter and you see the slash through his chest, you don't actually see the heart. It's
Right.
only after they go back to it that the heart is there. So maybe he moved it if he was really quick enough.
Sure.
I mean,
But
he
it
does
seems like
seem
with his like
solid.
line of dialogue on the bottom of 5, he says even spatial magic that erases everything couldn't destroy the devil's heart. So that kind of tells me that the mana did hit the mark, and it just wasn't enough to deal with the heart at that level.
I mean,
of
he could be
capability.
bluffing.
Could be bluffing. He could just be
Bluffing.
could just be talking shit. Absolutely. But
I mean, it is the heart of Beelzebub. Like
Right.
in like if you go for like demonology names, like that's a huge name. That's a
Right.
big name.
right.
So part of me is just like maybe it's just a tier, and it's like it's just a high level devil that can only be affected in those ways.
Sure.
But like it really threw me off. I was just like, what? Why?
Yeah, I was like, why? I was like, wait. I was like,
Um,
Tabata, give me something here for this.
Something that I really enjoyed was not to be like sadistic or anything, but like on page 8, I loved the fact that Yuno had like a despairing, crying, messed up face.
Yeah.
Because even in his like look at his page 9, his like little flashbacks and stuff, he's always had like a super deadpan, blank, stoic expression.
Yeah.
So like seeing that was great because I was like, yes, finally a little emotion
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Like
This is a big deal for you know, because I think someone
Yes.
mentioned in in Eagle's reaction how this is the first time he's cried since like I don't know hundreds of
Since he made
chapters
the
ago.
pact with Asta.
Since he made the pact with Asta, so that's great. If we're putting who a lot of people say has a certain kind of personality, you know what I mean, and he's been shown throughout the series in a certain level of confidence and a certain level of like I don't even know like what term I'm even really looking for here, but he like kind of has like he has his nose up at like most people
He
a
has
lot of the
a
time.
wherewithal.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's cool to kind of get like a deconstruction of that in this chapter because it just shows growth. You know what I mean? Just like at base level, it's just like for free growth here. Like he's crying, he's like upset with himself. He feels like he failed. He's talking about how like I talked all of this shit. I acted all of this way. I was so certain. I even made sure that they knew that I needed to be in this raid. I was so confident and I'm still getting whooped here. Like what the fuck good am I? I was like,
My
damn.
teammates are dead because of me.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, yeah, like this was massive for his character.
I thought it was way more compelling. One odd thing that I noticed on page 9 was like, I suffered loss and I swore. And I was like, in a fantasy world, why are all the tombstones have like classic Christian crosses?
Yeah.
I think that's something they've done before. Like
Yeah.
when you go to their church, I think it has a cross. I think it's just to give it that Western feel. I don't know.
I
Sure.
get that, but for me, it was always like a little funky. I was like, well, like maybe if they
I mean-
stylized the cross a little more like a clover, then
They
like
had
I'd
like
be
the
like,
classic
yeah,
Western
more fitting.
nun.
But like,
Yeah.
sorry, Eagle.
No, they had the classic like Western nun and
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
Sister Lily
Yeah.
and shit,
Sister
so-
Lily, yeah. So I feel like Black
That,
Clover
that
has
always threw me off.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little jarring, like
Yeah.
it's like an anachronism. You know what
Sure.
I mean? Like you go into like a spaghetti western thing, and they have like a flying bike,
Mhm.
right? Like it's just like, okay, this just doesn't seem
Yeah.
matching. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I feel like Black Clover has a lot of references to, outside theology and just
Sure.
ologies in general that like aren't directly talked about in the manga, and then like the community goes through and like finds those links and connects those dots and has those kind of conversations, even though Tabata doesn't really want to, or doesn't seem like he really wants to go too much into like the references themselves in the actual narrative. So it's just like cool little Easter egg shit to like find. I don't know if this is really that kind of situation, but it just goes into that like Charlie, from Always Sunny kind of like dot connection on the board. Like, you don't understand, Tabata's doing this, and this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always someone that says like, hey man, find a way to make it make sense in your story, and then have it have extra value when you go through and do the research. I don't really like the idea that you have to fine tooth comb the series and Wikipedias in order to make these connections if it hasn't ever really touched upon in the actual narrative. So, but I mean, like either way, like it's cool. Like it looks cool. It fits like a lot of other kind of like things I want to say. Like Eagle was saying, it goes back to Sister Lily. Like we have references like this throughout Black Clover, so it's totally fine. But like I totally see what you mean though, Mello.
yeah, it's always just thrown me off, even especially like Sister Lily and stuff. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, then we go in here. He's like, "Yo, I made a vow with him. This is not all I am. What's cracking?" Boom, and then you get this corporeal spirit
ethereal
form.
like spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. I am you, but you have your own strength as well.
And then he
Yeah.
gets a second grimoire here, and we have Patry saying it's as I thought. His wind magic, it's Licked and Tatia's.
Son, right? Their kid, daughter.
That's
I
the
mean,
impression I got.
Yeah,
I don't know, because like, how does one get
Daughter.
a grimoire, and how does one get two?
Sure.
Like for me,
that's
this
what I was saying in my
chapter-
reaction. Like, have we ever heard of anybody having two? Do we know
I don't
anybody that
think
does?
so.
Like, it's
Um,
kind of
uh,
it seems kind of crazy.
I know
It is kind of crazy.
the Captain of the Vengeance had like 2 books, but that's because he like Jekyll and Hyde swapped between his like elf host form and his human host form. So like we've had that, but like for me that's as close as we've gotten. And like, how do the grimoires work? Are they keyed to lands? Like, okay, because like has ties to the Spade Kingdom, but
Yeah.
then why did he create a Clover book
No, because I remember somebody, I think it was Magnus actually. I think it was Magnus that said, even in Eagle's reaction a little bit earlier, he was like, this is Licht and Tetia's child or something. And so if that's the case, then I know that like, was like a big deal in the elf art. Like he was one of the ones that had
Yeah.
an elf that kind of like took over him, right?
He was like immune
Yep.
too.
Or he was immune or something. Either way, like there was something
Nah, he had
involved
one
with
take
that.
over, but he broke
Broke
the
it.
control.
Yeah. So then, okay, so here's the thing then, right? Because we know that is like Spade originating, right?
Yeah.
So like he was always supposed to have a Spade grimoire, a Spade grimoire. So since he's like from Spade, he's finally now getting the grimoire he was always supposed to have,
So
right?
this is like
And then that would mean that
claiming of his birthright.
yeah, claiming of his birthright. There we go. There's a great way to say it. So then that means that whatever grimoire he had before
Was an inheritance
from like this kid who
had-
was like living inside of him or whatever, right? Because it's like maybe Lichten Tetia's kid was originally from Clover Kingdom.
I think it was because the elves were from Clover Kingdom.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
when the Demon King came in and ruined everything, they were gone, and like the humans absorbed their lands.
Right. Okay.
So and
So
book is like a 4-leaf clover. It was a
So wait.
special.
So
Yeah.
Yuno's actual
As opposed to the
grimoire
3D,
is
so,
the
like-
Spade one that appears here.
Right.
The 4-leaf clover grimoire is the grimoire of Lichten Tetia's kid.
I think so. I think
Yes.
at least like that's like kind of like what made the most sense when maybe it wasn't Magnus. I'm not sure. Shout out to Magnus if it was. But like someone said,
Resident BC guy.
yeah, so yeah, someone resident BC Stan like said, I think it was Magnus. He said this is Lichten and Tetia's child, and the only thing that makes sense is that their kid is from Clover, which makes sense because Mello said like, yeah, the elves are from Clover or whatever. So then the essence of that kid living inside of is what attracted the Clover grimoire to him in the first place at the beginning of the story. And so now he's saying, or they're saying, I don't know if it's a son or a daughter, but they're like, I'm you've grown your strength well. Like I'm you. Yeah. Like,
because like the thing about like elemental spirits is that like the spirits would choose their host or like the chooser of the grimoire, right? They would choose their caster. So like Sylph chose and like her dialogue initially was just like, oh yeah, I love you, you're the greatest, I like you, like you're
yeah.
like he was chosen, and it was signified by his 4-leaf clover as opposed to the regular 3. And then this is a reclamation of a birthright, because like I feel like this conversation has helped me understand this, because when I first read it I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This seems like such a bailout, like what the
well, as weird as it is, dude, like
it does make sense.
if we're moving towards like endgame stuff, it's like we know that like the competitors for Wizard King are going to be and Asta, and if you're going to give Asta all of this, like first of all, you gave him anti-magic in the first place, you know what I mean? So like prodigious talent in one area of magic isn't going to be enough to keep up with endgame anti-magic guy, you know what I mean? Like we know Asta's going to be this like wildly capable fighter and just presence in the narrative by the time it's ready to start talking about who's going to be the next Wizard King. So for all of the power-ups that we know are going to come with Asta, we need to have things that like make sense for to continue being his rival. So like now that Asta makes a pact with Libe, and they're like in sync now, and he was already like insanely broken just in general in the world of Black Clover from just having anti-magic in the first place, giving two grimoires at once makes sense for a rival of the Wizard King at the pace that the story is going right now. So like from a power perspective, it kind of makes sense in this moment, like giving him a second grimoire amidst all of these other power-ups and new forms that literally everyone on each side has kind of gotten throughout this arc. It's like, okay, whatever, give him the second grimoire, you know what I mean? Like especially if it's called back to, and there's like a narrative link that like a reread would make slap a little bit harder for you. It's like, that's awesome to me, you know what I mean? As weird as it is, like knowing that this links back to the Elf Saga stuff, it's like, that's cool in my opinion, even if it does seem kind of hand wavy on the surface.
Question for all of you.
Yeah.
What do you think the kind of magic that the new grimoire is?
I was just gonna ask this, and I think it's obvious to me anyway that it's light.
Yeah. Because isn't that the kind of magic Licht had, right? And magic is hereditary to a certain degree.
Well,
So
yeah,
if
but I mean, like we were saying, I think the wind magic from the four-leaf clover grimoire is the reincarnated like Licksun grimoire because they were in the Clover Kingdom,
Yeah.
oh wait,
but he was born in the Spade
Keshia
Kingdom and
had
would have actually
wind.
gotten this Spade grimoire from his grimoire test in the Spade Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, wait, that's right. So wait, I feel like I'm just like I just don't know what I'm talking about then because if Licht had light magic
But
and then his
this,
wife had like wind magic, then that would explain why
He has wind.
he has wind in the Clover grimoire.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
this is a new
But this
yeah, grimoire comes
Spade.
down like with
Oh,
a big illumination of
power
light.
that is Yuno's
It's
power
like-
alone.
It's like shining in his face. It's lit up all crazy. And there's like little glints of light on this last page double spread that are like healing him or whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody in my reaction was saying like, oh, it's some ethereal magic or something. But I'm like, nah, it seems pretty obvious to me that it's light. Because not only is he healing himself, but like it's all, you can see
It's all
this,
sparkly.
all this light
Yeah.
happening and this sparkly stuff going on. Yeah.
So no, wait a minute though, because magic is hereditary. So then why wouldn't Yuno's original magic come from a parent?
We don't know what his
We don't know who his parents
we don't know
are.
what his parents' magic was, and
We
and I
know
don't
a
know
lot
that
about
it's
the Spade
ever.
Kingdom.
So wait a minute. So okay, hold
That's
on.
why I don't think it's gonna be light, because like that's a Clover thing, that's an elf-based thing. What do you think that the Spade Royal Kingdom's hereditary magic is gonna be that manifests in Yuno? That's
don't
my
even
No,
know, to
it's a
be honest.
family thing. It's a family thing, bro. Because you have the Silvas and the Vermilions, and they're
Yep.
like related,
Mhm.
right? So you have inside of the Silva, you have Nozel, and then you have Aesir, and then you have Noel, and then like water, Mercury, whatever. It all comes down from a tree. I saw a diagram a while ago that like links everything, and then the Vermilions are like fire, you know, and that kind of like weaves in and like makes it make sense on the family tree in that way. So then like we don't know who Yuno's parents are, right? I think we know his dad, technically, or
it's
something.
like royalty.
We met like we saw like no, that wasn't even his dad. That was just like his surrogate like father who like grabbed
It was
him
like a
from
servant that like ran away, like
yeah.
Anastasia
Okay.
style.
Okay. So yeah, so if we don't know who his parents are, and he started the story with wind magic, but then that magic is like reminiscent of the elf spirit that kind of has been residing in him this entire time, who is like the child of Licht, a light magic user, and Tetia, which is a, do we know what affinity Tetia has?
She was wind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So then, yeah. So then there goes his original magic. And then Spade book comes out and gives him light magic. So then his father, or his like biological father or mother was just a light user then, right? That's just like so confusing because Licht is light. So like I like totally was
I
like,
don't know if it's gonna be light though. Like
Oh.
I understand why you guys would think of it, but like that's just my personal take. What do you think, OG? What do you think the Spade thing's gonna be?
yeah.
I think based on just looking at the pages we have, light is the reasonable prediction.
hmm
But I mean, it could be anything. If we're keeping in like themes of Yuno being this like super OP character who's like blessed by magic, and he's just like the epitome of magic users.
Right.
I also think light would be pretty fitting, because I mean, if you
Light's
think
been
of
shown to be one of the strongest types of magic.
Yeah.
exactly. Plus, it would be fitting with the wind magic because light and wind are both like pretty fast, pretty like top tier in terms of the elements. So it'd be very like in character.
Yeah.
Right. To be the one blessed with all of like the top tier stuff in the magic world, juxtaposed to Asta, who is just top tier with nothing, you know, because he has that anti-magic area. And as long as he just like exists and trains and develops that to a high level, then he's going to be on par with even someone who has 2 grimoires in 2 of the stronger, you know, magic affinities. Like that all feels great from a
I
from a rival
have
perspective.
an idea of what it could be. I think because the Spade Kingdom is in the far north, it might actually be like a cold-based magic, and that the light that we're seeing is like an aurora borealis like effect. Like
Oh
that's the
shit.
sign of thing. And so I felt like what would pair well with wind? And I was thinking like cold or ice or something like that. And that the dancing lights is like light refracting off crystallizing water.
But then how does he heal him? Oh wait, no, you can heal yourself with water magic, can't you? Oh no, no, no. Water is a defensive style of magic, not a healing magic.
It's a little bit regenerative, I think.
Is
Like
it?
all
Is it? I
water
can't remember that.
flowing.
Yeah.
Because like Noelle's cousin Mimosa, like comes from a water-based family, but her plants
No,
are
she's part of
like
the
flower.
Vermilions, and she's
Oh, is she
plant,
really
yeah.
from the Vermilions?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wah, wah, wah. Just kidding.
It's hard to keep track of.
It is, it
like
really
especially
is.
like once we get into like real like family tree magical affinity conversations. That's gonna be where an extensive like understanding of Black Clover is going to like really come in handy in those.
Well,
kind of
Mimosa's
situations.
also like an anomaly because she's technically a Vermilion, but they're like the cousins, so they
Right.
don't really fit in with all the fire lion people.
Yeah.
Well,
For me,
they're
'cause, like,
from that branch
the-
of the Vermilion family that is like the plant life, like her and her brother.
Right.
Right,
what's his name,
exactly.
with the
Mm.
She had
cherry
the
blossom
Sakura
petals and
magic,
shit,
or
the
the
Sakura magic.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So then like on like the Silva side you have like water into Mercury, and then
Mhm.
on the Vermilion side you have plant into fire. So it's almost like kind of polar opposites almost working together on both sides.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Because
So-
like I don't know, because like when I saw the thing on 10 and 11, which is like I am you, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, like a little wavery, little bit of magic.
Yeah.
Because like I understand why you guys think about like the light and stuff, but like there's a lot of things, but like also magic's glows, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I
Mhm.
just want it to be something that isn't straight up from like Licked or something like that, where it's a direct reference. Because I just
Yeah.
want it to be like I want it to be part of like a new avenue, like a new expression of who he is.
Sure.
That's like not related to something that's already been pre-established. Because like we haven't really touched much on the Spade Kingdom.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
I feel like it's important for new developments inside of Power in Black Clover to be linked back to like pre-existing things, because I feel like a major complaint of Black Clover is that like power-ups come out of nowhere and new forms come out of nowhere and things seem like really hand-wavy. And sure, inside of like the Black Clover community, it probably doesn't feel that way because they really extensively research this stuff. But on the surface, like, at least for me, it's like I'm someone who is like, okay, tie everything back to a pre-existing point because I like that continuity. I'm not saying that it's going, it's a bad thing if it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like this can totally be a new thing and then just like explained later, or maybe it's explained enough right now. But just like as a personal preference, I'm not the biggest fan of like, here's something new every time anything crazy happens. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
for
just think
sure.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
snow, because like combined with that, he'd have like a blizzard power, and that would make sense to me, at least for like
that
a
goes into
descendant
wind
of the
and shit.
ruling class of the Spade Kingdom, which is set in the frozen north. So like,
Sure. Is
to
the
me,
North
it's like-
frozen in Black Clover?
it's
I know it makes sense
because like
that
they're
northern
all wearing,
stuff
like,
would be
heavy
colder.
cloaks,
Oh, sure.
and like they're having snowball fights all the time. Like it just
Mhm.
seems like a wintry place.
Oh well, then yeah. If we have that, then that's all we need. Yeah. If they're having snowball fights, that's good. Yeah, that
Yeah.
goes right along with what you're talking about for sure. I just didn't
think,
remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the first time Yuno's really showed off this little like necklace? Isn't that supposed to be some sign of his like nobility or lineage?
No, he's had that necklace. That's been a focal point the entire series. Where,
Yeah.
like that's the necklace Asta got back, for him that made him respect Asta.
Mm.
And look up to him in the way he does.
Okay.
All right. Because I feel
Alright,
like he
cool.
just wears under his clothes. a
But I
lot.
think that is a sign of his lineage, because when he was dropped off as a baby, he had that.
You had that
necklace.
on. Yeah, I was gonna ask that question.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's nice to see that kind of like revealed from his bare chest. It kind of fits the story
Absolutely.
pretty well.
Yeah.
Like he's no longer hiding that part of himself. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Sure.
yes. Nice little touch.
Yeah. I think that's about it for Black Clover this week, though.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, with that, I think we can go ahead and move into chapter 329 of My Hero Academia. In the nick of time, a big-time maverick from the West.
I love
We
this
start out
cover.
with this fire color cover of Star and Stripe.
It's colored for you?
Oh no, it's not color. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, you looking at
I'm
something
so
I
used
don't
to
got?
saying color cover.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, this is
No,
awesome. Just full render. I mean, not full, you know what I mean, but just like dedicated page, stark white background, just the drawing of the character. Fire.
Mhm.
And you can tell there's big All Might influence in, you know, her hairstyle and character design. You know, it's
Yes.
just, yeah.
That'd
You
be
tell
great.
I
she was
like her,
definitely, he
like,
was definitely
Wonder
her
Woman type
mentor.
bracers.
What'd you say?
I like her Wonder Woman bracers.
Yeah. Wonder Woman
So
just had an 80th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy
But yeah, we
belated.
move into this this all for one shit right away in the chapter. I was like almost not ready to see just like all for one shit. I was like, oh my god, oh shit, let me
Yeah.
take a breath.
Yeah.
And he's just like doing more 5-head big brain shit. Like
Yes.
already knows that Star and Stripes on her way somehow.
That's
Like maybe
insane.
even planned it.
He's got
And
spies.
is like, look, this is a big time gamble, but if I can take her quirk, the rest of this war is going to be like legit child's play. And which was shocking to me, not only because like again just showing his high level of, you know, predictive ability, like planning ability, just mastery over tactical combat and long-term like warfare,
Yeah.
his long-term plan of life, but shows his you know, his propensity to take a couple chances here and there to try and like, you know,
Yeah.
support his long game. He's like, fuck it, why not take the chance?
Right.
But I also like how he's putting some responsibility on Spinner here.
Yeah.
I mean, a planner like him knows how to delegate. I like how he kind of like manipulates Spinner a little bit. Like even
Right.
when he's like talking to him, he's just like, "Hey, man, it's like you're a veritable nobody. As a heteromorph, you've led a difficult guy. You hear the rumblings. You know that people know you're right, and just like kind of thing. It's like,
Right.
and he talks about like do justice in your name, and like he even talks like he's like you're the one who spins the tale. That kind of, but
Yeah.
it's not him
I thought
spinning.
that was a really
Spinner
cool line.
actually
Yeah, it was a
is-
great line.
It's like
Yeah,
a
that
nod
was.
to like say like, oh, you're important by incorporating his own name. It's like, oh, this is something you're doing. But let's be honest, it's the Paranormal Liberation Front exec and AFO that are helping spin the story. Like Spinner actually isn't in power, but like the way he's talked to, it makes him feel emboldened, like he has a
Right.
responsibility, and he's
Mm.
like, yeah, I've got a good read on you. Like he drops like his crusade and like justice and stuff. He's like, I know you're a fan of Stain, so I'm gonna use these words to like kind of
Right.
like encourage you to do these things.
Right.
Like
I just
like
have
It
to
just
say,
everything he interacts with.
Yeah. Go ahead, OG.
I was just gonna say real quick, I feel so bad for Spinner. Like, I don't know if anybody has seen the Harley Quinn cartoon, but they have that running bit where some of the characters will occasionally be like, "Yeah, I'm actually not a villain." Like, Poison Ivy goes, "Yeah, I'm actually not a villain. I'm just trying to protect the environment." And then later on, Mr. Freeze goes, "Yeah, I'm actually not a villain. I'm actually trying to cure my wife's cancer."
Right.
I feel like Spinner should have a point in the story where he goes, "Yeah, I'm actually not a villain. I'm actually just trying to fight racism."
Yes, yeah. It's built
that's
up
his
so
arc.
great inside of My Hero Academia because it's like we know that this has been a very subtle underlying point in the narrative that characters that look, you know, that are heteromorphs are automatically assumed to be dangerous, you know, like inherently violent, you know, and it does have those ties to, you know, racism in the real world and whatnot. And I feel like going back to Mello's point about how All for One is kind of like taking advantage of that outlook and going like, you want to stop this, you're the voice of this, you're the heteromorph on our team, so you are the voice of these people because we're the ones that are making these moves, so like you have all of this burden on your shoulders to kind of like fulfill my area or fulfill my you know, outlook on this kind of situation in your area of what this is relevant to, because it's like you are a heteromorph and there are heteromorphs that are discriminated against. You're on my team. We can rally all of those people to our cause through you. And yes, this is manipulative, But like also it's what Spinner wants too, because he wants that liberation, he wants that acknowledgement, he wants the world to see that these people are not inherently terrible. So you kind of have to go along with that, and you're already on that side anyway. So it's like you're a villain at the end of the day no matter what, because you're rolling with me, even if that's not your, you know, necessarily your like prerogative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. My hero right now feels really, really good. And like, I'm on the edge of my seat here, like trying to figure out more of this information. And we're in a really good part of the story right now where we're meeting a lot of these higher powers and these delegatory bodies within the world that are kind of sitting in these influential positions that aren't heroes, that are making these big decisions and shit. Like just a couple chapters ago where we got the heads of certain countries that are like, yo, should we or shouldn't we send our heroes out? Da 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 da. And then of course the Americans that are like, yo, Star and Stripe she already went. Like we can't stop the bitch. And then here in this chapter, when All For One is like talking about how he's got friends all around the globe in the basically in the underworld and shit who he's gonna call to action so that they start fucking shit up in other countries, and other countries are gonna be more reluctant to send their top heroes out to help Japan here in this crisis.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just feels like a really good part of the story here we're in, and I can't wait to just see how things are gonna unfold. And I know Kiko is fucking loving this shit if he's current in My Hero.
Yeah, this has got it. This is so
He's
speaking to
giggling
him right now. Yeah, he's like, I knew this would come, and it's here.
Vindication. No, I feel like I like that AFO like does what most companies should with minorities, is like, hey, you're a minority. I'm gonna let you handle this because you would know better than me,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's a
appreciate
good
that.
point.
And like he's a pro delegator
Yeah.
in that way. So like it's a very smart move. I like how they're turning like the tragedy of Himiko Toga, you know, Spinner and the heteromorph plight, and like using sympathy to garner things after completely eroding faith in the hero society. And they're like, you know what? These people are strong enough to survive in this wasteland of a new world, and I sympathize with them, so I'm willing to follow them. Like it's a cultural, not cultural brainwashing, but it's a very good use of propaganda.
Yeah.
Very well executed. Personally, I think that Spinner is gonna have that heel turn at one point because he idolizes Stain, where Stain is neither hero nor villain.
Right.
Or is both in equal measure. He's like, I understand that I am villainous. I understand that I've done wrong.
Right.
But I am doing it for heroic reasons.
I'm doing the right
Yeah.
thing the wrong way.
Yes, and I think that that's a part of Spinner's arc, because even like he's like, I believe in Tomura Shigaraki, but I don't believe in AFO. Like
Yeah.
he's gone on record saying that, and like
Yeah.
there was a moment. Unlike Young Toy and the others, you devoted yourself to guarding me. It is nearly time for you to take your action as well. But like, he wasn't guarding AFO. He was guarding Tamura. So like, it's like AFO is getting a little ahead of himself, a touch.
Yeah.
I think, because he
Yeah.
views that he and Tamura are one person. In the end,
Right.
which is kind of reinforced by the ending of the chapter. The language there, like, hold them sacred, we shall endow them with divinity, with like Spinner and like the other League of Villains, like using like their cult mentality a little bit to like elevate these people to be larger than life, to attract more people, and then having that crazy double spread on 12 and 3 with like Shigaraki having the stigmata from his
Yeah.
old wounds. I was just like, the subtle language and layers to this is just so good
Yeah.
for me. I love
That's
it.
that's the thing. What is that? Can someone remind me of what that hole represents? Like that's his air cannon or something, or not air cannon, but like it's something. It does something.
I thought he took that wound after he had like been quickly regenerated and like upgraded, and that he took that to like block an attack.
Can't remember. I feel like it's a
I
power.
can't remember.
I feel like it's one of his powers though that he has.
Oh, you think it's a power?
Yeah,
Alright, fair enough.
I
It
could have
was
sworn that
definitely
it was.
shown during the war. Like he had the hole in his hand during
He
the war.
had the hole in his hand during the war, and I
Mhm.
want to say it has something to do with like some kind of movement related ability, or maybe. And I know that the tendrils that come out that like stab people, I don't think that's like really related to the hand directly or the palm directly. I think those can just come out from like anywhere, maybe. But I swear this is like a quirk that he has, or like a power that he has in his hands. But that could just
I'm
be me
excited to see what it is.
misremembering it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But how like crazy is it that before Star and Stripe even gets to where she's trying to go, Shigaraki intercepts her? Like that's such a gangster point in the story to just page turn into. Like Shigaraki is already here. It's like we haven't seen this guy for so long, and like we're supposed to feel like reinvigorated and like kind of like on the up and up now that Star and Stripe is getting here, and then you just meet her with Shigaraki right away. It's like, what's gonna happen? Like, does she go down right here, you know, for stakes, or does she whoop Shigaraki right here the first time that we've seen him in who knows how long, when he's supposed to be more capable than he was before, when it took everybody to fight him? You know what I mean? So it's like, I have no
How
like.
tough is Star and Stripe?
That's not, like, that's a good question, and obviously the next chapter is kind of going to show us. But I feel like it can only go like one of a couple. Like, well, in any kind of situation like this, it can go one of three ways: she wins, Shigaraki wins, or it's interrupted in some kind of way.
Yeah.
You know what I
like,
mean? So
Does she just focus down the Nomu and cause him to fall into the ocean? He's just like, well, I'm swimming back. Like,
I feel like he has a way to fly though, almost like on his own if
I
he
think
needs
so.
to. Yeah. Because like there was a lot of aerial combat inside of the Paranormal Liberation Front War
yeah.
regarding Shigaraki. So I feel like he has a way to float at the very least, if it's not just outright flight, because otherwise why would he be riding on the back of a Nomu, I guess.
Mhm.
I feel
But,
like as
like-
much as I would hate to see her get beaten right away, I'm leaning more towards she does get beaten, or her quirk at least taken, because it would really deflate a lot of the stakes if she were to beat Shigaraki right here, you know.
Well, as far as the stakes go, I feel like I agree. Well, I feel like it's just like an expectations thing, right? Because it's like Shigaraki did all of that in the Paranormal Liberation Front War at like what, like 40% or whatever the fuck he was at, and then he goes and has all of this time to recuperate and regenerate and come back to, you know, a proper point in his development post experimentation, or post, you know, whatever the fuck that was that the doctor was doing
Upgrade.
to him. Post upgrade, there we go, that's the word I want. So like I feel like it makes sense to have him win here, but like I think he can win without stealing the quirk. I think he can just beat her ass and then get to the point where he's about to steal the quirk, and then it's interrupted and she gets taken away and she's like, holy shit, that dude is strong as fuck. You know what I mean? I feel like she has to get whooped here for stakes. You know what I mean?
Good setback.
Yeah, like going into like what Eagle was saying, you know, like I feel I can totally see Kohei going like, okay, here's Star and Stripe, #1 American hero, looks like All Might. We're supposed to be really gassed up about this. Like, holy shit, we're in a really good spot. And then boom, as soon as like OG was talking about a little bit earlier, as soon as everything feels really good, that's when you introduce, you know, like new like conflict or new, you know, problems or whatever. So I think that Shigaraki can win here without stealing the quirk, and then bring us to a point where it's like, okay, Star and Stripe, we had everything banking on you, and you kind of just got whooped up a little bit your first appearance. What's going on with that? You know what I mean? So that brings the uncertainty back up, that brings the worry back up, and naturally the stakes, you know, are you know, kind of synonymous with all of that stuff. So I think that works. I definitely don't think she gets her quirk taken in this exchange,
No.
though. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah,
That's
not right away. That is too soon. But I think it does make the most sense to have her be beaten to a certain degree in this upcoming exchange. Because otherwise, why reintroduce Shigaraki after so long just to have him get beaten outright after all of that he just did in the Paranormal Liberation Front War at less capacity? You know what I mean?
Like maybe he'll suffer some sort of damage that.
Oh,
he'll,
yeah,
like,
she's
take me a
gotta-
while to regenerate.
Yeah, she's got to like do some significant shit to him. Otherwise, why hype up Star and Stripe to this degree?
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it comes to pretty high diff. Star and Stripe lose, doesn't get her quirk taken, somehow finds a way to retreat and get out of the fight.
Endeavor and Hawks.
Okay.
Endeavor and Hawks, yeah. And Beth's
I
genius.
wonder if she gets stuck in a vulnerable position because she's gonna try to protect the pilots.
Oh, sure.
And
I
I
was
think-
thinking that she had. No, that makes all the sense in the world. I was also thinking that there were other pro heroes from America inside
Maybe
of
from
these
her
jets.
agency.
Yeah, maybe from her agency. I think that there's other pro heroes with her. Like obviously all of these people in these jets have quirks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're, actual quirk using like heroes, you know what I mean? Like
quirks.
combat, yeah, you know what I mean? So like these could just be fighter pilots, and then like some of them are like other heroes that just don't have it in them to stand on top of jets as they travel, through the sky. So maybe they have to fight outside of the jets because Shigaraki does a bunch of damage to them. So I think that there's more than just Star and Stripe as far as like combat quirks involved, and we just haven't seen them yet.
I mean,
But
we can't count out the Nomu. Like,
yeah, that's true too.
That's one of those elite premium Nomus.
Right.
Yep.
Those Kilowog Deluxe.
Oh, Kilowog, like like Green Lantern.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh shit!
He's got the funky little forehead there.
The
Yeah.
high-end Nomus.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like a bunch of baby hands.
And I was thinking about it too, like when Eagle said like Endeavor and Hawks pulls up, and I was like, yeah, Best Genus too, but it's like, how does Best Genus get all the way up here?
I don't know if he
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I don't think he can, but like,
There's a thread attached to Hawks or one of the feathers, and it just lifts him like Mary Poppins.
Oh shit, it could be something like that. Yeah, Hawks can definitely bring him up. If
I would
he needs to be.
100% expect that only from Genus because he is such a character.
Campy
Yeah,
mofo.
and
Hello.
it like he would be super effective here. Like, look at how much fabric Shigaraki is wearing right now. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't bare chested only pants wearing.
Decked out.
Yeah, like this is.
Your
Like,
fashion style was your undoing.
Yeah.
Speaking of what Shigaraki is wearing, I just noticed. Can we talk about how he's got his super menacing outfit, and then he's just wearing Vans?
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out
Yeah.
in my reaction that he is wearing the same outfit as the color cover from chapter 306.
Oh yeah, I remember someone did say that. Hold on.
Yep.
Someone did say that in your
Right
reaction,
here.
actually. 306, you said? Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit more tattered in the, Wait a minute. No, because he has no sleeves. He has no sleeves in the color
But
cover.
he has the hand guard on, and like maybe the tattering comes from after getting screwed up by Stars and Stripes.
I like that, but like at the same time, he's also not even wearing the same shoes. Like he's got Chuck Taylors on in the 306 color cover, or in the double color spread.
True.
Here he's
And
got
then
his
here
silly-ass
he's
Vans.
like, yeah, he's got some chuckas or something on. Yeah, like this is
His
not the same
language
outfit.
choice is kind of weird.
He does have the like similar slacks though. Like these do
yeah.
look like the same kind of like high water slacks, just tattered, and he obviously has like the tattered cowl or whatever. You know what I mean? Cape cowl combo. Yeah, for sure. So it is similar, but I really don't think this is the same shit. Unless it's like Mello said, and this is on 306, this is after he fights Star and Stripe and she blows off his arm, sleeves, and tatters his shit all the way up. But then you have the shoes, so it's like,
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
I really dig. I mean, the language like kind of throws me off because he's like, "Are you the villain they call all for one?" Good question. He says, "What exactly am I?" And I felt like, "Who exactly am I?" would have been way more ominous.
Sure.
Because like, I don't know, it doesn't fit. It doesn't.
Well, what am I makes sense in regard to like, am I even a who at this point? You know what I mean? He's essentially like a Frankenstein monster almost of a character. You know what I mean? So like, what am I kind of goes into like the monster demon kind of like aspect to Shigaraki and All for One's like relationship. But then on top of that, it's like, what exactly am I? Nah, because when you're right, because when you say who exactly am I, it's like you have that dynamic between him and All for One, who's actually in control, who's in the driver's seat. Am I me, or am I All for One, acting as me, or whatever? You know what I mean? Like there's like that or whatever, but what exactly am I?
It's like Mass Effect Harbinger, assuming direct control.
Yeah. But I mean, what exactly am I feel like is all encompassing for like everything Shigaraki has kind of been going through. It's like, I don't know who I am, but I also don't know what I am either. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, like, what am I raised more questions
Yeah,
instead of like reinforcing the themes that were already present
sure.
with the Who,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting, and like
Maybe we
tying it
want
back.
more questions. Maybe that just
Yeah,
ties
I
into
mean,
the esoteric nature of the Shigaraki and all for one dynamic.
yeah, and it's like, hey man, I've been rebuilt and regenerated so many times. I'm not even sure what I am.
Yeah,
It's like
type
the
shit.
Theseus thing, where it's just like, I don't know, am I even?
Theseus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think I don't know. Does anybody else have anything for My Hero?
Like, I don't remember the last time I was more excited for the next My Hero chapter, honestly. I
Me
feel like
either.
this is such a massive exchange that we're about to see between Star and Stripe and Shigaraki. We already
Yeah.
talked about the ways that it could go. I'm like super hardcore leaning towards like you don't reintroduce Shigaraki just for him to get whooped. You don't introduce Star and Stripe to this degree just to have her quirk get stolen.
I'd
So
like a stalemate.
yeah, like,
A
and
good
and if
outcome.
not a stalemate, Shigaraki wins, but just doesn't get the quirk, and then everyone has to retreat and go talk to
And
each
they've
other in Japan.
they've
Yeah,
got some time to fight here because they're 50 kilometers off of the landing point, you
right,
know. So like Endeavor's got to fly quite a ways here.
right.
Fire guy directly over the ocean. Great combo.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Oh no, and it takes a lot for Endeavor to fly. Like
Yeah.
that is
It's a lot
not
of
a
energy.
flight quirk. Like you have to do a lot to get above the ground even, you know what I mean, like let alone that high up and that far away. Like you have
And
to account
maintaining
for,
velocity
yeah,
too.
exactly, like
Just
you have to
like
not just account for what it takes to get you there, but like what it takes to get you there, then the fight, and then going back to like
keep you
not
up.
above water is all going to
Avoid
take,
gravity's pull. Yeah.
yeah, like all of
Hmm.
that shit. Like
So
Endeavor's gonna
much
be
compulsion.
yes,
Super hot.
yeah, like that's super high stakes for Endeavor to even be fighting in this area, I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's insane.
I'm salivating over what Stars and Stripes like potential quirk is.
Me too.
Hold on, wait. Someone said some drastic shit. I think it was Yato in your reaction. He was like,
In my reaction, yeah.
yeah, what did he say? He
Hold on,
was
let
like,
me. Yeah.
no. He said, what if Star and Stripe has like a very similar fighting style to All Might, but instead of like, you know, smashes that are named after American cities, it's Tokyo Smash and like, you know,
Kyoto
fucking
Smash.
Kyoto Smash and like all these other Japanese
Hokkaido
That'd be
locations.
so
shit
cool.
like that.
Yeah, like yeah, dude, that'd be so
That'd be tight.
sick.
And especially because All Might's her mentor, you know.
Yeah, I think that would be the coolest.
comes over
thing
like-
ever.
Oh, New Hampshire smash, bow, and then she's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of tight. What are your cities called? You know?
Yeah.
Those are all a bunch of like Star Wars references
Oh,
because of like the cities that have Star Wars, like Camino Ward and stuff.
Yeah,
So like,
and,
what
like-
if it's just a bunch of Star Wars references?
That'd be
Just like,
funny.
and
Dude,
it's like,
you have a
oh,
lot of
well,
Star
maybe
Wars
I'll have to deal with
locations.
battles with Disney later.
you got Dagobah Beach, you got Tatooine Station, you got all
Yeah.
of these things like are actual locations in My Hero Academia. I think it would
Yeah,
slap
I
a little
love
bit
it.
harder if she attacked with Japanese, like if she had
Oh,
like a
absolutely.
similar Smash fighting style, but with Japanese cities instead of American cities. I think that would go the hardest. But
That would be dope.
holy shit! Okay, I think I'm done with My Hero though.
Me too.
All right,
I'm
bet.
pretty
Anybody else got
satisfied.
anything?
I would just like to know why Gina felt the need to be like, I need to ask her about the denim. Like I know that's his shtick, but I just feel like it was just so like, dude, really now, like right now.
I like
Eugenius
that golden age
yeah.
kind of thing. That
What is it?
gold rush mentioned for like comics, because like
Yeah,
Gold
right.
Age comics, Silver Age comics. I
Yeah.
like that touch.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Yeah.
hell
All
yeah,
right,
man.
Well, I think that about does it. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into the piece de resistance, chapter 1028 of One Piece.
Hey,
Motherfucking, what's the title again? Brachiosnakeus. And we got this fire ass color cover.
The best
Motherfucking
one!
Super Smash Bros
I love
on him.
this.
I feel like it's definitely, somebody pointed out in my reaction that it seemed like a Super Smash Bros
It
reference.
is.
I think
Right
that's
away.
definitely true.
Right away.
Sanji,
Solid
Sanji,
Snake.
No, Sanji, his whole thing, his gun is like the me gun for like the Smash Bros.
Oh.
Miis. it's the same kind of gun, or it looks like the squid gun, like the inkling kind of like ink gun.
Oh
Either
shit.
one of the two, but they have
Oh,
very
yeah.
similar like art.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a little me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
we
Solid
got-
Snake,
we
that's
got-
crazy. But this is definitely Super Smash Brothers because Robin's Morrigan,
Who's Robin?
the Morrigan.
Oh, really?
That's Morgan is from like Darkstalkers.
Robin
Yes.
almost just looks like her form that she just had.
Which
Yeah,
is
the
it's a
opposite.
coincidence, or maybe it was planned. I don't know,
It's
but
a lot
like,
of, I mean, it's definitely a lot of video game references. Like Tony Chopper looks like the kind of like Dragon Quest Monster Rancher type
Oh.
creatures.
Yeah.
wait a minute, the Morrigan
got-
isn't in Smash Brothers. The Morrigan
No,
is
I
in
was
Mar-
gonna
the,
say,
the
yeah.
Morrigan is in Marvel vs. Capcom though. So
We got Frankie as Donkey Kong. We got Zoro
Yes.
as Link.
yes,
Jinbei
Jinbei's Mario.
I'm not. Oh, is Jinbei Mario?
oh yeah, or Luigi, whatever. You know what
He
I mean?
looks like one of the Mario brothers.
He's
Yeah.
got a big old J on his like hat and coveralls.
Yeah, and we got
um,
Luffy. Who's Luffy?
Where
Ryu.
This is Ryu.
yeah,
Ryu's
no,
in
that's
Smash
Ken.
Bros.
That's
now.
Ken.
Ken
Is
is in
it?
Smash Bros.
Yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, because Ken
Ken's
has
got the
red
red
suit, you're right.
key.
He's got
Yeah.
the red
you're
with the
right.
black
I
belt.
always get the
Yeah.
names mixed up.
Brooke is Meta Knight, maybe.
I thought he reminded me of one of the bad guys from the NES games, where he's just like la la la. Like if you use the little
none of them
trophies
are
and
in
it
the-
summons a dude.
Oh,
I thought that was him. If you guys
Wait.
know in the comments, let us know. Like, I really am curious about that.
I think he looks like Walpole, like Howie New World version.
Oh, shit!
Walpole.
No, not Walpole. Fucking Davy back fight. Count Chocula looking dude with the Noro
Yeah.
beam.
He
What's
doesn't
his-
look like Foxy.
Foxy, doesn't he? Doesn't Foxy
He
Yeah.
have
looks
like
like
the
Wapple. I think he looks a lot more like Wapple.
oh, because
Yeah.
the hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, plus
Okay.
Walpole has like the
and the
black
suit and the
now.
crown.
Yeah. My bad. Okay.
I just think it's weird because like he's like the one character out of everybody else that is like immediately an iconic video game character.
Right.
He
Yeah.
might be iconic in Japan though.
So
that's
wait,
the
who-
thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Who's Chopper then?
He's the little he's like a Dragon Quest creature because there was a game where you
Oh,
like
yeah.
collected monsters within the Dragon Quest world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played a lot of that as a Game Boy game. I love the game references.
This is amazing.
And I'll be honest, when I saw the red hair, I thought that was Yamato.
Oh, for Robin?
Yeah, I thought it was Yamato, and I was like, "Oh, excellent confirmation that Yamato is going to be joining the team." But
I think it makes more sense that it's Robin, given that
it
she
Yeah.
makes
isn't
more sense
anywhere
than
else on the
Robin.
color.
But like my
cover,
initial
you know.
take, I was like, "Ooh, yes, fantastic."
Yeah, no, this is definitely the Morrigan, bro. I even just like looked up the Morrigan Capcom.
Yeah.
like,
Morgan was
just
my
to-
first thought.
yeah,
I
just
thought
to
Street Fighter
confirm.
across Capcom.
Well, I felt so stupid because I was like, it's the Morrigan, but I was like, wait a minute, this is Super Smash Brothers, and the Morrigan is like not in that game. But wait a minute,
Yeah.
like she's totally in Marvel vs. Capcom, so like it doesn't have to just specifically be like
Mhm.
Super Smash Brothers, even though that's like the main theme, obviously. But like I think Oda was just like, I gave Robin this form that looks like the Morrigan, so
Yeah.
put the Morrigan in the fighting video game color spread. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I really hope our viewers like if they recognize some of this stuff, like fill us in because like
I'm dying to know actually.
Yeah, for sure. Like, definitely let us know like what you think Brooke is, and also like just for me, even though it makes sense that it's a Dragon Quest character, if there's any other ideas for Chopper, throw those down there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if I'm wrong about Sanji because I'm like not 100%.
Wait, where is Sanji? Oh,
Sanji's. I think he's Solid Snake to be
Oh,
honest. The
oh,
way
that's
he's
right, that's
crouched
right.
down like that, you know,
yeah.
aiming his gun like boom boom.
I feel like it would be more obvious if he was Snake though. Like,
Yeah, like little head.
they would have gave him an eye patch because that's like easy for Sanji.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they would have. I feel like Oda would have done a little bit more to.
Well, yeah,
make
but
it obvious.
aesthetically, does it make sense for Sanji to have an eye patch? Like
Well, I mean, his one
one
eye
of his
is
eyes
always
is already
covered.
covered.
That's what I'm saying. So like, why not? If you wanted to make him, if you
Just
wanted to
put
make
it
him big
over the
boss,
hair.
why not just give him the fucking eye patch then? If you wanted that,
because
aesthetic
then you'd have
flair?
to change his hairstyle.
Just put it over the hair.
Sure.
My first thought was Samus, but I think that's kind of a stretch.
Oh shit! I forgot about Samus.
That's
And who
fair.
is? All right. Anyway, hit us in the comments for Sanji for sure. Oh my god.
We're only
Okay.
4
All
brands. We
right.
need the
Well,
help of like.
I
100
love how
more
we start the
brands.
chapter off with like CP0 shit. Them
Yeah.
saying like, look, regardless of what happens in this battle, we're pouncing on the motherfucking victor and we're claiming this country, you know,
Mhm.
for our own.
Yeah.
So fuck
Yeah.
these motherfuckers.
Right.
Dude, the
And then
whole
Lucci
idea of,
obviously like bring back Robin first and foremost. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Getting a Lucci panel is just crazy. Like it makes
Yes.
so much sense. You know what I mean? As soon as CP0 is introduced in this arc, you're like, I wonder if we're gonna see Rob. Everybody's like, I wonder if we're gonna see Rob Lucci then. You know what I mean? And now here he is, and it's hype
Oh.
as shit. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And Oda's really good at letting concepts cook before payoffs. You know what I mean? So
God,
waiting this long, you know, before the reveal of Lucci at a super climactic point. In maybe not climactic, but just like really high octane point in the combat in the war is just like so cool right now to see Lucci.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
but-
really dig just how kind of shitty the world government is. It's like, yeah, we're gonna annex this stuff. We're gonna, you know, Ukraine this thing. We're just gonna roll in, take over. Let's go.
Like I can
Yeah.
totally see a panel where they show up and they're like, "Congratulations, you are formally invited into the world government," and everyone was like, "The what?"
Yeah, like, huh?
The what?
Stop resisting. We are coming to your rescue.
Oh shit.
You know, like that
Yeah.
little Star Wars guy. Just
Yeah.
brutal.
So don't they say in this chapter that like world government ships are pulling up to this?
Yeah,
Right?
straight up.
Yes.
Page 4.
Page 4, yeah, they're like, all right, ships are on the way. So like whenever this situation is done, you know, we're gonna do the whose strategy is this? This is a war strategy from history. Like it links back to somebody that goes, the enemy, like I have or maybe not enemy, but like, okay, you have this force over here, this force over here. We don't really like anybody that's fighting each other right now, so let them
I mean, it's just
wear
classic.
each other down. Yeah, it's a classic thing. Maybe it's Sun Tzu, Art of War. You know what I mean? Like I think is yeah, something like that. But
It happened all the time in the War of the Roses, like
yeah,
with all those like smaller countries are fighting each other. Just like, okay, we're gonna play the balance. One thing that I think is gonna happen. This is a prediction. I believe that with Onigashima being moved, I believe that Yamato and Momo are gonna move the Skull Island off shore of Wano and drop it on the incoming like fleet, and the giant explosion is going to cause this massive wave and have that kind of classic Mongol army invading Japan, and have that parallel of like the storm, this giant explosion wave taking out this fleet and preserving the integrity of Japan.
would be sick.
wait. So you want him to drop Onigashima on the invading world government ships? That would be insane.
I feel like it's going to be offshore, like not directly at them, but like
Yeah.
they're going to push it offshore. It's going to shoot it, and then it's going to cause this big wave, which will knock out the fleet.
Wow.
To kind of parallel a key moment in Japanese history, especially since Wano is Super Japan.
Yeah.
That'd be
I feel
tight.
like that's going to be a thing, and that'll help preserve Wano's independence and
Yeah.
like can reestablish that parallel of Yamato being like the Okami White Wolf defender of Japan.
That's awesome. The idea that I had with this information of like Navy ships coming in to kind of like reap the spoils of the, you know, Yonko versus Supernova conflict on Wano, I thought that like just the information that they're coming also just kind of signifies the coming of other, you know, supernovas that aren't here. You know what I mean? Like, and just also other non-world government factions pulling up if they're pulling up, because it's like if the world government is pulling up, why wouldn't like the revolution also pull up to some degree? And why wouldn't like the rest of, you know, the supernovas like Jewelry Bonnie, Rogue, I know Beige is like busy like doing like whatever, but like not all the supernovas are here, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I can see pretty much anybody else that's relevant and also tied to, you know, characters that are already here. If the Navy's gonna pull up, then they could too. You know what I mean? So I know that they're trying to introduce more stakes by saying like, you guys are going to fight each other and then we're going to come in and clean up. Well, it can't be that easy because you guys are literally dead to rights if that happens. So there has to be another element that comes in and kind of evens that playing field. It's, you know, as well. So I think a lot of people are pulling up here, and this is something that we've been talking about since long before this information came. It's like, if they're really trying to like hype this up to like, you know, Marineford levels, then we need other outside forces to kind of like meet up here, and it makes sense for a lot of people to pull up, you know what I mean? So why wouldn't the Navy eventually pull up? I think was one of the first things that we said long ago, way before the raid, you know what I mean? So if that's the case, then literally anyone can pull up, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
So,
dude, what if Dragon shows up and has that like affirmation moment of like, I'm proud of you, son, that kind of thing.
Like, I don't think Luffy's really interested in that. That'd be tight.
But if Luffy meets Dragon here for the first time, that's going to be insane.
Yeah.
That's going to be like actually insane. You know what I mean?
It would really cement.
Shanks could even pull up here.
Oh,
right?
That'd be so good.
You know, because it's like, I don't know. Shanks was at the Reverie, like pulling up to talk directly to the Gorosei. You know what I mean? So it's like there is a little bit of a foreshadowing there for even Shanks to be here. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
a few chapters ago, Mihawk went to visit Shanks, and he was in a bad mood until he was like, "Hey, you know, your young gun protege, like, look at his bounty now." And he was like, and the weather.
No, that
changed.
was so long ago.
Was it a long time ago?
That was so. That was after
I'm
like
running on Vegas time.
Yeah, no. But we did talk about that moment recently on the show, like literally episodes ago. But the moment you're talking about right now is like right after Jaya. Like I think even before they go to Skypiea, I think that he whoops Bellamy because they were making a big deal about his bounty in Jaya because like they clowned him at the bar. And then, like, Bellamy's subordinate was, like, pissing into the ocean, and then a fucking wanted poster, like, flew in front of him. And he was like, 100 million? He's, like, counting the zeros. He's like, this can't be right. I think I'm drunk. And then ran to Bellamy and was like, yo, you see this shit? Yeah. So, like, yeah. But that was so long ago. Oh, my God.
Fair.
Yeah. But holy shit, man. Shanks could be here. Like, that'd be so crazy. Like, if they really wanted to bring this up to Marineford levels, I feel like not just the Navy has to show up here, you know what I mean? So, because that's just going to be too easy for them. Like, they'll literally just come in and sweep the whole shit. They send 1-2 admirals and, like, all of their little people, you know what I mean? Like, come up with them, you know, like, vice admirals and shit. It's like everyone's going to be exhausted, thoroughly exhausted by the end of this conflict. You need to bring another outside faction in to balance out the arrival of the Navy, so.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, okay. Going into the conflict here, or going into the chapter, so we have Momonosuke that's like, all right, I'm tasked with like dealing with these flames. I got to figure out like my own little shonen main character, like surpass your limits shit to get these flames out of here. And then Yamato is like, all right, you handle that. I'll go in here and try to get rid of these bombs because we don't need this shit dropping and blowing everything up. If you fail Momonosuke, at least the bombs are gone and the damage will be significantly reduced. You know what I mean? So, like, that was really cool that they kind of split up in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just Sanji time, dog.
Sanji time, baby.
Yo.
Hell yeah.
This is definitely Eagle's bag for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
How do you feel, man?
That's why I was so excited for your reaction, bro. And I was telling you all week, I was like, stay off of Twitter, get off of Facebook, get off the internet. You know what I'm saying? You can't have this one spoiled.
Oh,
I feel like,
seriously,
you know what I'm
I had to
saying?
do
It
a
just-
solidarity thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait an hour before the show to read the One Piece thing, raw how I feel.
Hell yeah.
It feels good, man. Like, it just feels validating. You know what I'm saying? People
Yes.
sleeping on my guy for so long, saying, like, yeah, he's going to get left in the dirt. He ain't even part of the monster trio no more. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And as soon as I seen this shit, I'm like, oh, here comes the meatheads. Thought, oh, Sanji's so
Monster
fucking
trio.
durable. Raven smoke. No, but like Noxie said in my reaction, like, yeah, he just took a fucking Yonko commander attack straight the fuck up, and like Queen put his back into this shit. He didn't armament hockey up or anything like
Nothing.
that, but he still put his back into this shit.
Yeah. Well, like, Sanji ate that shit. Like, this is literally just
Queen didn't armament hockey up, is what I was saying.
Oh, sure.
Neither
yeah.
of them did, but
Yeah, but this is
know.
literally just Sanji standing there. He's
Yeah.
standing there trying to get used to like what's happening with his body, and Queen comes up behind him and sneaks him with like a full power. He stepped into that shit. He's reared
Tries
all the
to
way back,
trap him.
both hands on the sword, full power follow through, and it just breaks on contact. That's disgusting.
yeah.
Oh, dude, no. His line at the end of the chapter is like, "This sucks. I don't want to be a monster like them." He's literally putting the monster in Monster Trio.
Yeah.
Hey
like,
yo,
I
love
love it, but like
for real.
this Brachio shenanigans,
it.
Brachiosnakeus was fucking
wild.
crazy. Like what? So his actual like body is like a prosthetic mechanical body, and this is
And this is his
actually
real body
in
that
one
he's
piece.
shooting
He's
at
a
him. Yeah,
cyborg.
In one piece of Brachiosaurus is a snake for real.
yeah, I guess. Or it's like
I don't
some
even
kind
question
of
it.
yeah.
I think it's just Oda logic. It's just it's science,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah,
It's kind of a well. Oda does have his own
Power
little.
cyborgs.
He has his own little pseudoscience that he employs when he doesn't want to be held to an actually scientific degree. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like lineage factor, for example. Instead of
Right.
instead of DNA, you know what I mean? He calls it lineage factor. So like everybody doesn't come in saying like, well, according to the double helix,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like you have to have your own little kind of version
I've
of
got
that if you're
devil
going to be
fruits.
using shit
Think
like
I
that.
care about science that much?
Right. But
I got magic.
this fight is wild, bro. And
I
this
would
is
just.
yeah. Go ahead, OG.
I was just gonna say. It just occurred to me. This was actually a lot like the Zoro and Kaku fight when
I was
Kaku's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna show
yes,
you my ultimate move," and then
yes.
it's like the spaghetti machine.
Yeah, I was totally just going to bring up how reminiscent this was of Kaku, and it makes so much sense because of the CP0's kind of like
Mhm. Yep.
influence, in this arc. You know what I mean? We already saw Rob Lucci. It's totally inside of the realm of possibility that Oda's like, hey, you guys remember Kaku versus Zoro? Kaku was kind of doing this stuff in his draft form a little bit. Like, this is like, and even if it wasn't intentional, it's like, that's just like Oda as fuck to do something like this, like, so even if he didn't remember it, which I'm sure he did.
Regular giraffe.
Yeah.
It's cool. I love that stuff. Like the turning into like the snake bazooka was amazing. Like just launching himself. He's like, I gotcha.
Yeah.
got his ass hemmed up, and then he was like, had those comedic moments where he's like, yeah, my real bossy is, my torso is brachio launchers and shit, and he's like, ah! They shoot him as he says it, and he's like, hey, you
He's like-
fucking idiots, you're only supposed to do it when I say brachio launches like an attack. Ah!
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's hilarious.
Oh man, it was so cool. But like Sanji just getting crumpled up and walking around.
Sanji got crumpled up like an accordion.
Looks like a zombie.
Dude, it was disgusting. I was like, oh, he's squished. Like,
Did you turn into a zombie? Sanji, you look freaky.
dude, it was scary. It was just like it's very uncanny valley where I was just like, ooh.
It's looking like fucking Michael Jackson in the Thriller video is what
For
I think
real.
I
Dude,
said
for
earlier
real.
in here.
Dude, his leg, it looks like Midoriya's the like first 5 chapters. Like, it's like, bro, you good?
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh shit, I'm good.
Dude, and I hate the internet because I like on page 15, the middle panel of like Queen's like leftover prosthetic body. It's got this like gaping hole in the middle of it, and I saw on Twitter it was like, all right, now hear me out, y'all. And it's like, no, get the fuck out of here. I'm not hearing shit.
I hate that so much, especially considering how Oda goes to the effort of making Queen's neck so veiny. Like, look at the panels. It's just
Yeah.
like, when he's like all coiled up.
Yeah,
it's just like,
especially
oh,
on
come
14. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
What are you
oh,
doing?
man, and he has a move called Bridal Grabber too.
Oh,
So it's like,
fuck.
Exactly.
That's
No.
gross. You nasty queen.
Oh, I love it. So what do you got? Okay, so if this is Sanji having his altered, physiology kind of like come to full potential during this fight, activate, you know what I mean? Like, what does this mean, dude? Because it's like, man, he still has the raid suit. This is so massive for like, this is like one of the biggest boosts I think we've ever seen in real time.
This is a massive power
in
spike.
One Piece. Yeah, like this is like some never before seen shit, I want to say. You know what I mean? Like this is wild right now. Like what does this mean for the power of Sanji? It doesn't seem like any of his like offensive capabilities have been increased. Obviously, we don't know because
I think after this like hard increase, like we've seen this like this moment was the increase, so it's essentially like
Yeah,
like So I think after this, we'll see his offensive capabilities, how they may have been affected.
Right,
You know?
right.
Oh, I definitely think they're gonna like spike up because like his body is like adjusting, recalibrating, and once he's finished with that recalibration, his body's gonna output so much damage because if it can withstand that damage, that means he, like Midoriya, he can just put out an extreme force without actually harming himself.
Right, right.
This is going to be massive. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, you're a guy whose body could be like, I like people with that are masters of the color of armament hockey got crushed to death by me.
Right.
And if you can physically withstand that, what kind of damage can you put out?
I wonder how this is gonna affect shit like Diablo Jambe, bro. Like, is his like fire output going up? Like, there's so many questions.
Yo, yeah,
Yeah.
watch his both legs on fire next time. Like,
Wow.
Stomp queen.
So, oh, okay. There's a question. Does he ever? He only ever like has like one leg on fire at a time for Diablo Jambe, right? But no, like there's times where he goes like full Super Saiyan, like completely covered in fire. Or is that just like a gag thing?
That's just like him, like, brah, you
Yeah.
know?
But when he goes into combat, like he only ever
I think
has
it's
like
only ever
one leg lit
we've
up.
seen Diablo Jambe.
Oh
yeah.
shit! No,
He has
because
both
he has Spectre, and where he like shoots from both legs, fire from both legs, t t t t t t t, and he like shoots you down. He like rains fire down on you
Dude,
with both legs.
I
He has
think you may
that,
be right about that.
yeah, he has that
do you
fire
think
shooting
he's gonna
attack.
do like a little bit of like an Endeavor thing where he's just like, phew.
Hey yo, no, we've definitely seen his hair turn into fire before,
Yeah.
like just in certain moments. But
I think
nah,
those types of moments are just comedic. Kinda.
right. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. But in combat, though, yeah, I don't think we have besides Polefrir Spectre. I think that's what it is. Yeah, and where he literally jumps up and just shoots down fireballs from both legs. Okay, so we have seen that
Ooh.
at least.
Oh man, I want to see like flames licking, like coming out of like the palms of his hands.
Hey
and
yo,
fingertips. I wanna
hey
see,
yo.
like, eyebrow like ignite into like this curly fire, like train.
Oh shit.
I want to see that. I want to see that with like both legs, like complete. Like he's got hot pants, like literal hot pants.
I think both legs on fire, like in just regular kicking combat, would be like would be so sick. I don't know how I feel about like palm fire blasts from Sanji though. I don't know how I feel about hand-based fire attacks coming from Sanji, but definitely if we've never seen a double leg Diablo Jambe, I think now is going to be a really cool time for that.
Yeah.
But I just don't know what you expect from
drop
this, bro.
kick, Diablo drop kick.
Oh yeah, that's right. So have we ever seen a flaming concasse? Isn't that what he hit Luffy with in Whole Cake Island? Actually,
Maybe.
Maybe.
he was in
I
Diablo
think
Jambe when
so.
he definitely hit Luffy with a concasse, like in that scene in Whole Cake Island when they fought. But I don't remember if it was on fire or not.
I think
like,
it was.
Yeah, he definitely did like the jump up, infinite front flip into the downward hammer
Mhm.
heel. Yeah, like man, if we haven't seen that in the Diablo Jamba, then I'm ready for that because I feel like that would make a lot of sense inside of like,
I think
yeah,
even the Spectre, I kind of just looked up a video of it.
Yeah.
And it looks like it only shows in the anime at least one of his legs being lit up, even with the Spectre attack.
oh shit. So it's just one leg. That's hilarious.
I can't wait for him to get like burning greaves on his legs, like knee down,
Oh.
just both legs completely burning.
No, because we've seen that. We saw that in Whole Cake Island when he saved Judge and the rest of his brothers. He was standing on the table while they were covered in candy wax, and he was like just standing there, both legs on fire. I want to say. Hold on one second. I'm about to look that up. Actually.
That's fair. My memory is
Yep.
porous.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. Hold on.
Yep.
Yep.
We see both
Yeah.
legs. on
Both
fire.
legs are on fire when he saves Judge. Yeah.
Nice. So precedents have been made. I still want to see it.
But still, like in combat is different. You know what I mean? Like he's just standing there in these panels. Like, have we ever seen him fight in Diablo Jamba with both legs? Let me know in the comments if you remember.
My memory ain't what it used to be in my
Yeah.
old age.
Yeah, yeah, no
Help
worries,
an
bro.
old man out.
But yeah.
What a
I think,
chapter!
yeah, what a chapter.
Oh.
Anybody
Sanji
else have
stands
anything for One
eating.
Piece?
I love it.
Yes.
Um,
Feasting.
I don't have any more input, but like I'm just so excited for the next chapter. I want to say we're going to switch perspectives because Oda's like really good at that, and there's like other things going on in this fight, and like Zoro's still fighting King. I don't know if he's going to. If he does start the next chapter right back here, and we just get to see more, you know, of Sanji's new capabilities, I'll be very surprised and obviously very hype. But like a part of me just believes that like we're gonna leave this alone for a little bit because Oda be on that shit, and that's like,
Yeah.
oh no. But either way, man.
That, or maybe we'll switch back to the Zoro perspective. Like maybe we'll get these commander fights here for a few
I
chapters.
hope
Back to
so.
back until they're done. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me get that. Oh yeah,
let
I
me
love
get
that
that.
AB.
Because really, everybody else's fights are kind of resolved.
they're
at
kind
this
of
point.
done. Yeah. Okay.
And they both said they want to be there for the culmination and the
Yes.
climax of Luffy's fight.
Absolutely. Luffy
So
always
I feel like
finally.
that would be it.
Yeah, Luffy always finally beats the guy like with everybody watching. You know what I mean? So I think
Oh, a lot of
So like I feel like Zoro and Sanji, like if anything, will bing bong between Zoro, Sanji, Yamato, while he's doing the getting rid of the bombs or whatever.
yeah.
They're fighting here. They'll all finish their objectives and make their way to Luffy to see the climax of the Kaido fight.
Oh, that would be so cool if it was like, okay, Sanji focused chapter with a little bit of Yamato and Momonosuke stuff going on sprinkled in. Zoro focused chapter with a little bit of Yamato and Momonosuke sprinkled in back and forth until it's completed. And then they all go up to see Kaido and Luffy finish. Oh yeah, let's go.
Oh man, this has been a ridiculous week for Jump, even without Jujutsu Kaisen. Just massive chapters all the way through.
Oh wait,
Yes.
real quick, you want to know what? If Sanji's getting all this right now, we already saw Ashura inside of Zoro versus Kaido. I
Right,
think we
yeah.
see even another new technique from Zoro before the end of his fight. Like, yo, wait a minute, because if he used Ashura that early, he's gotta have like another Ogi or some shit. You wanna know one
Maybe
we
it's-
haven't seen in a while? The one when they were fighting Kurusame underwater on the way to Fishman Island. What was that? It was another Ogi attack. It was a
It
special
was like the
technique.
8 gates or something
The
like
six
that.
Crossing
paths.
6 paths.
Yeah, the six
There you go.
paths.
Yeah, we haven't seen that ever again. What's up with that? We got to see
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah, we got to see that. And maybe even like a brand new technique if he's already used Ashura. That's
I would like to see like Ashura 2.0, something like that.
Hey.
We saw that, didn't we, against Kaido?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
it was a
like an
new
updated version.
Ashura technique because you have Ichibugen and he used that versus Kaku, and that's the one where it's just like samurai showdown, like we both cross paths and then and then you just explode behind me, and then you have Makyusen, which is the one that he used in Ashura form against the Pacifista in Shabandi. So those are the two Ashura techniques that we've seen so far, and then now we have the third one versus Kaido. So I doubt we see another Ashura application, but like,
I've got a stupid idea. So Sanji is not indestructible, but like impervious to a lot of harm. In the previous chapter, we saw Zoro be able to create projections of cutting that has enough force to move
propel
him,
him. Yeah.
keep him from things. Can Zoro send out those propellings, and then Sanji, with his newly like durable body, can like jump and run off those projections?
Hey yo, he probably, man, that'd be really cool to see. I feel like he still could have already done that, like even before this. But like,
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever seen anything like that before inside of their tag team. So that would be drastic as fuck.
Because they're the
definitely.
wings. They gotta work together a little
Yes,
bit.
absolutely.
little bit.
Absolutely. Cool idea. But that's all I had for One Piece this week.
That's all I had as well, I think.
Fuck yeah.
I actually have a theory that just occurred to me.
Oh, what's good?
Fun.
So, if we look at the Yamato panel, or when Yamato's in wolf form,
On what page? On 8.
so 8 to 9,
Yep.
she's running into Law's crew.
Yeah.
And so we already talked about the bombs and how, or no, we didn't talk about them in depth.
Yeah.
But Yamato's big thing right now is I gotta get rid of these bombs, or if this island goes, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
We're specifically shown Law's crew. What is Law really good at? Moving stuff.
Placement.
So what if Law takes the bombs and drops them on the warships?
I
Dude,
love
I didn't even notice like Law's people in that panel on page 8 in the middle.
That is my connection.
Law's
Yamato
pretty
is
busy,
concerned
though.
about the
Law
bombs.
is pretty
Yamato
busy.
runs into Law's
He's fighting
crew.
Big Mom right now.
But that's just my pet theory that I
Yes.
would like to see.
Yeah,
Well,
so Law is
theory.
occupied right now, but that doesn't mean that he can't go
can't,
from
yeah.
that over here to do
Right.
exactly what you're
Because
talking
why
about.
else show Law's crew
Yeah.
specifically?
Wow, that is an incredible
Dude.
spot, OG. Holy shit.
Sharp eyes. Damn.
Literally just occurred to me.
I
See,
literally
this is why I like talking it out, because as
Yeah.
I talk it out, I think it, and then I go, well, wait a second.
Yeah, yeah. That's why this setting is like so important for these kind of conversations, because like someone's gonna say something that makes you think of something, then you say something, and then when you say something, now you're thinking of more things based on what you just said, and then everybody just kind of like bounces off each other and comes up with something really cool. And like this Law crew spot, bro, I swear to God I did not see these guys.
That throws me. That's so good.
Dude, I think that's exactly what has to happen now. Otherwise, yeah, why show that?
Yeah, I feel like it's such an obvious nod. It's like why have Yamato run into Law's crew?
Yeah. And that's
That's-
totally some Oda shit.
Yeah.
Good shit, OG. Holy fuck.
I try.
Hell yeah.
Dude, no. Beautiful.
Well, I
Chef's
think
kiss.
that about does it for this chapter of One Piece.
Yeah, dude.
Hmm.
Great note to end on. Damn.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you all for watching. If you did, thank you again, Shonen OG, for pulling up and having a great fucking discussion with us.
Yeah, of course, it's been a pleasure, and it got me to do a lot of important thinking.
Yeah.
Yes. Be sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed the shit. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Fire Ass weekly content. Slap a sub on Shonen OG's channel as well. Make sure you hit that comment section down below. Let us know what you thought about this weekend jump. Anything we missed in the discussion, you can talk about with us down there. And as we said before, make sure you check out that description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts such as Twitter, online communities such as Discord, places to listen to the podcast wherever you so choose, as well as links to support the podcast such as our Patreon and our online shop. And check out Shonen OG's links that we will put down there, of course, as well. And with that all said, this will be another stupendous episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
Mellow Yenis.
And a Shonen OG.
Sarabada.
Go.